and give me the link so I can put it places. I could probably grab it. Oh, I know you grab it. You'll be faster. It'll be faster. Do you want me to mute us?
I'm feeling so much more in control of my health.
I'm gonna mute us for now.
Flows the health app.
Okay, now we're hot.
Hello. Welcome to the gayest volume of Friendsim 2.
It is the gayest volume.
Janaya dumped all her gay little feelings into this volume.
I did.
We will have to point out the specific line that Janaya wrote. that she wanted to send to me.
Yeah,
to ask me out.
line. Only one. Definitely only one. Not like a whole bunch. I'll point out the section that I wrote initially while I was drunk. Cleaned up a lot. Don't write when you're drunk.
She got drunk and almost confessed her love to me.
I got drunk and got in my feelings. I think this was before that, but the writing this was before that.
No, it was the day that we were all
Oh shit,
it was
it
when
was.
we were all talking about things and you were like, oh my god, I should ask
Oh
her
yeah,
out.
it's the day I thought I asked you out because I got wasted. So I ended up writing. I ended up rewriting some of the like confession lines and then going back over it the next day, and it was like, oh wow, this is not particularly well written, but the vibe is there.
So let me know if me eating Cheetos is obnoxiously loud.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know how sensitive your mic is.
I got drunk and wrote gay angst.
Yes, basically. Which, like, people seem to like it, so I guess that was successful. And I'm
You're a
dating
good
you
writer.
now, so...
Yeah, I mean, clearly it worked when you asked me out.
When? I had to write both the good and the bad outcomes for it, too, for this route.
Date your directors. Good things happen.
That is not good general advice.
It's
not at
not.
all. This is a very special case. Where we knew each other and collaborated back and forth for like 2 years.
1 year.
1 year closely, but we knew each other for longer than that. We were in that Rosemary thing.
We barely talked. That was a project.
Yeah, you're right.
We started getting close about a year before.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that was around the time that you sent me your entire life story to turn into a song.
Yeah, well... Yeah, that's fair, because, like, we started working together, like...
Because that was, like, one of the first
it was, like, the middle of
conversations we
2020.
had, was you
Yeah.
giving me the, your life story to
Yeah,
turn
I
into a song.
remember. Which is a lot. It's been, like, 2 years now. It's been more than 2 years now. Oh... All right. Well, yeah. How many people we got in here?
We got.
Oh
6
shit.
years.
Okay. Yeah. So this is volume 6 of Friendsim 2. We're continuing our All Revolution plotline. We also have. Wait. Let me open it. So, as you may have been able to guess, if you've played the route, there's a number of like different outcomes for the situation with the quadrants. And there's a way to get all 3 of the Jades into a relationship, which I have written down here.
We're getting the polycule in.
Because we're getting the polycules. And the fun thing about it is it actually has no bearing on, like, the actual end of the route. Like, it does have some effect on, like, how easy it is to convince them. But, like, most of it is just, like, it's not optional, but it's all, like, extra stuff. But if it makes people like feel things, then I think it's worth it. So yeah, volume 6. I'm gonna boot this up in a second here and get the volume adjusted.
Here, come get Cheetos if you want them. Haul your ass over to New York City if you have some Cheetos.
You will have to buy them yourself from a store on your own, but you can do that.
Yeah.
They have Cheetos in New York.
Also, they have Cheetos where you are, probably.
Oh, it's hard to find the spicy ones. The puffed spicy
They don't
ones.
make puff spicy ones.
Oh, they don't?
No.
What the hell?
I know.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
It must be the knockoff Cheetos that they have that of.
Maybe.
Or I just made it up in my head. That's
Or
a
is the
possibility.
meat eating Cheetos sound annoying? I will stop if it's annoying. But yeah, let us begin.
Alright, let me just verify that this is like... Yeah, no, that's not the one I wanted to click. Let me make sure we can see this.
So, question. Are the mic levels okay for all of the... NYC stands for New York Cheeto.
Yeah, that everyone knows that. That's just like basic facts.
Basic Cheeto facts.
Basic Cheeto facts.
I've been eating a lot of Cheetos lately. It's probably not great, but like I'm working a job that means that I stay in a room for 11 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry when I get out, and sometimes the coffee shop I like going to after work is closed if I get out at 8. So, I just go to the store across the street and buy a bag of Cheetos, and that's what keeps me from keeling over after having eaten nothing but a small portion of beans and rice for 11 hours.
Not enough.
I know, but I'm stuck in that room.
I know you are. Your shifts are so long. All right. So we got our is it updated? Yeah. So last time we did the tabletop RPG. This time we're gonna do the Jade Blood.
Can I tilt this the
Yeah.
so I can really see?
Of course. Let me turn the brightness up too. For some reason, it is like way down.
Probably down to where we were watching.
Yeah, I was probably using it at night. So, as you may notice, if you look at the gallery, there's a lot of CG in this. An artist named Miki, whose info is in the credits, did all the CG for this route. They're a really, really talented artist.
Miki is so good. If you guys are familiar with my Broadway Suck shows or with the Times Apprentice 2021 video, you're familiar with Miki's art. It is so good.
Yeah, they did that, the thing for the Ardata and L-word rap.
Yes.
Still, that's really good.
This little troll should be whatever I have in mind. I could bloodthirsty on Maine. I would try to be kind, but you must be into that. You don't look very frightened. I could break you like the mic, but you'd probably like it.
Also, I really like Riot Breaker. Riot Breaker did the sprites and also the promo art, which is intended to look kind of like a manga cover / anime cover. Since this is the closest to a dating sim that this game ever gets, basically. All right, so let's do the thing. Continue.
It's a wingman sim.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we're loaded up with the right save, and we're gonna start volume 6. This route talks about sex and uses the F word a lot, and that's not a surprise to anyone, and it talks about eugenics too, so
yeah. Oh boy, there's some eugenics in here.
If you don't like that, maybe don't watch it, but it's not any worse than the other stuff in the game, so you're good. This is just the most like sexually suggestive route of all of them, although there's nothing like explicit. I cannot hear the music. Did I turn it? Oh no. Oh, it's just quiet. It's been a couple of cycles now. Long enough that you're getting used to calling them cycles instead of days, at least. And
Can everyone else hear the music?
It's feeling like the longest day of your life. I mean, I don't know. It's just quiet right now. I could turn the volume up. There we go. Oh, I know why. Because I was turning the volume down because we were watching the show.
Right, because my ears burn. from earbuds.
Yeah, exactly. So let me level things. Here we go. All right. So what are our chitter notifications? We've got Marvis, at Chixie. Girl, that latest single was sad AF. And then Wanchi.
Raid on the Lost Monastery was a success, Ulu. With a little playtesting, it should be perfect.
Alright. Even if things have calmed down a little bit, everything still feels so dire. Like the trolls who were on world here are all living on borrowed time. Obviously that was more or less literally true for Elward and Lang, but what about Wanchi?
What about me?
Oh shit, you were doing the thing again. Well, you search for the right, most delicate way to phrase this. Isn't she kind of worried about the other Jades eventually having to go off-world? Wanchi shrugs.
I try not to think about it much, Ulu.
You squint at her. Doesn't she, though? It seems like...
Shut up! You have no idea what you're even talking about. So just shut up.
You can't help but notice the tears in the corners of her eyes. Wanchi quickly wipes at her face and shakes her head vigorously.
It's fine, Ulu.
Okay, but it seems like maybe it's not fine.
Nope, it's fine. You'll see.
Well, hey, she gets to really fight the power, just like Daria.
Why would I care about being like Daria?
You know what? Never mind. But she's gotta be excited about this, right? The sense of freedom? Wanchi shrugs, looks down, and quietly tugs at a lock of hair.
I guess, ooh. Mostly, I'm just worried about the others.
Wait, why is she worried about the others? Did something happen to them? It suddenly occurs to you that they might not even be there when you arrive. You're trying to remember how old everyone was. They seemed like they were all young adults, so...
They're still on planet, just
Just gay.
Yeah. She trails off and frowns down at the ground.
It's just that they're not doing so great. And basically, the only thing keeping them here right now is imperial bureaucracy bullshit.
Also,
Don't you
great
dare tell
fucking
Branya I said bullshit.
I know. Wanchi's very quiet for the rest of the walk to the caverns, which makes for an extremely awkward walk. You mostly focus on admiring all the deadly flora that you've missed so very much over the last few years. 100 feet or so from the cavern entrance, Wanchi stops in her tracks.
All they care about is their own stupid bullshit now. It's dumb, and I hate it.
You're not sure what she means by that exactly, but at least she's glad that they're all still around, right? After all, the alternative would be that she takes over in the caverns. Oh no, a thought occurs to you. Are the others going to be sent off-world as soon as she's ready for the job of cavern matriarch? Wanchi shuffles her feet and her voice drops.
No one knows. I do badly on my tests on purpose. Not enough to get kicked out, but
Badly enough that the others don't get kicked out too, huh? Wanchi nods solemnly.
yeah.
Wanchi, what are you doing out here again?
Hearing a very familiar yell, you look up quickly to see yet another one of your old friends. Linnera's standing there, brandishing a knife and scowling. Uh-oh. Hey there, Linnera. You're not planning to, stab anyone with that knife, are you?
What?
Her eyes go from the knife to you, to Wanchi, and back to you. And back to you again. You can see the instant that it registers with her what's happening. She drops the knife point down into the dirt and runs forward, grabbing you in an excited hug.
You came back after all this time.
This is the first track I wrote for the game, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
I wrote it about a year ago.
This route ended up being written, like, relatively early compared to some of the other ones.
Because you love the Jades.
I do love the Jades. Like, this wasn't the first one I wrote, but it came before a bunch of other ones I wrote, so... Like, I wrote it before Volume 5, Volume 7, Volume 9, 10, 13, 14. So it really is... It's like the third route I wrote, I think. Yeah. Unless you count the prologue as one, but that's like half of a route. So yeah, so it was written relatively early. It got a lot of rewrites and revisions, and also, like... I don't know, the VAs did a really good job with this. Also, we got super lucky with Linnera's VA, because, we were looking for a Linnera that was, like, most of what we had in our head was, like, very high-pitched, soprano-y Linnera.
Usually what I imagine for Linnera is Texas Linnera,
Yeah.
which some of you may be familiar with. But
And we got an application from Autumn Ivy, who's, like, very big on, like social media stuff. As, like, a social media influencer who just, like, found the game and applied to be a VA. And was like, okay, sure. And they sent in...
they applied for Charon.
For Charon, which wasn't quite right for that, but, like, the voice worked really well for Linnera. Like, it's having the deeper, like, less high-pitched Linnera works really well, especially with some of the dialogue that Linnera gets.
This route really is oops all altos.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, our Daria is really good too. It's
All my favorites: Riot She Days, BPD Spins, and MILF.
Linnera quickly lets you go and jumps back, blushing and shaking a little bit.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you or anything. I just got excited. It's been so long. Where were you?
You've been getting that question a lot lately, and everyone seems to have a different way of saying it. Some of them were hurt or angry at you, but Lanera just seems genuinely confused. Without even breaking stride, she breaks into a grin and waves a hand in front of her face.
Never mind. It doesn't even matter. I'm just so happy that you're back now.
Lanera composes herself far more quickly than you would have expected, all things considered, and walks over to pick the knife up out of the ground. She frowns and wipes it absently against her skirt. So, she never did answer you about the stabbing thing. You're not prepared for the look of absolute shock that crosses her face.
Why would I do something like that?
She glances down at the knife in her hands, and her eyebrows shoot up as understanding dawns.
Oh, my Empress, no. I was making dinner when one of the Luci came running in. I thought that maybe someone was...
She trails off and shuffles in place, dropping her gaze.
I wasn't even thinking about the knife. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just that last time you saw her, she was maybe... You notice Wanchi out of the corner of your eye, quickly waving a hand in a "stop talking, you idiot" motion. You quickly stop talking.
It's fine. Lynn, we were just out checking it on Lank. Uwu?
Lanera frowns at the mention of the name and shakes her head.
You shouldn't be associating with him. It's not safe. Also, I told you to stop calling me Lynn.
Wanchi rolls her eyes and begins to push past Lanera.
Only like it when she calls you that, Uwu?
That is not true.
Yeah, okay, Lanera. I'll be in my room if you need me, Uwu.
Ugh, I swear she makes me so angry sometimes.
Lanera's expression softens as she turns back to you. She seems to be looking you up and down, trying to decide if you're real or not.
It's okay. Let's get you inside and cleaned up.
Before you can go very far into the caverns, you stop and clear your throat, which gets Lanera to turn and look at you again.
We gotta.
Yeah, now we've got the Jades, Lanera's chitter.
My friend is. Fuck. Okay, how do I do Lanera without sounding like Dar? You do Lanera. Or not, Bronya.
My friend is back. I can't wait to tell them what's been happening. I can't do Lanera right now. Allergies have been bad lately.
If I try doing Lanera, it'll sound too much like Bronya.
If I do it the way I usually do it, it'll sound like redacted character from later in the game.
Well, you can do that.
I suppose.
Nobody knows who redacted character is.
So if you go back through their chitter, there's a lot of like stuff happening in the caverns too. Also, you can get to their chitters before they technically are available.
At Grubsitters Club, and what if I don't want to feed the fucking Luci? Then I sincerely hope you enjoy sleeping alone tonight. Well, fuck. Fine.
I love her. Everything is fine. I'm trying to do better. I'm really trying to do better. 38 followers. How many does Lank have? Oh yeah, 727,000.
Of course he does.
So, just so you know what you're getting yourself into, what exactly happened over the last couple sweeps? Lanera looks at you like you just asked the world's stupidest question. Which, to be fair, you kind of did.
I don't know how to answer that. It's been a long time and...
She trails off and shuffles in place, reaching over to hug her arms around herself.
Look, we can talk about it later, okay? I want the others to know you're here.
Look at all of the babies!
Also, so Riot Breaker is the one that did the sprites for Daria, Bronya, and Lanera, and then Momo did the sprite for Wanchi to kind of, emulate the style that Riot Breaker has. But, Riot Breaker's sprites are designed so that they have, the facial features are all independent layers. So the three main Jades each have, 40 sprite
Oh
states.
my god, there's so
They
many
have
sprites.
they have so many different variants on their expression and stuff.
God, when doing Daria's punk band and I had all of the variants of Daria, it's okay, I have a handful to choose from all the others, and then Daria, I have everything I could possibly.
Oh my god, the whoopty shit.
Whoop to shit. Wait.
It's just a reply to that
Oh.
one.
I know Troll 2016. There's a lot of these.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of back chitter.
Oh well.
Don't you take that tone with me.
I love how Wanshi's thing is Troll 20.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
After a short walk down into the hallways of the caverns, you find yourself emerging into a high-ceilinged common space. The room is filled with a mishmash of varied pieces of furniture that give it a warm, lived-in feeling. Also, this route is the one of the routes of like a ton of them that Magpie Raven did the backgrounds for. Actually, the first route that Magpie Raven did the backgrounds for. So these are all but the nursery and, of course, the Twin Moons background, which is Q-Stuck.
I think we need
Grubcat.
We need Grubcat. I'm gonna set Grubcat.
You can't see Grubcat, but trust us that he is there. And actually, the Grub Nursery was one of the first backgrounds that we did. That was Charlie Flock, who's done work on a number of Homestuck projects, including the official projects, and they did that one like for the first trailer, like the teaser trailer. So after a short walk, I read that already. Sitting in a high-backed armchair in one corner of the room, you see yet another familiar face. Daria looks up when she hears the two of you come in.
We can't put Grubcat in the fruit bowl because Grubcat's in my hands right now.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Allergies.
Big allergies.
What's up, fuckers?
Lanera glares at her and motions with the knife. Honestly, it just seems like she forgets she has the thing in her hands at all.
Oh, stop it. Look, we've got company.
Yeah, that's supposed to mean something to me? Hey there, you're back, right?
You gesture at yourself and Daria rolls her eyes.
No, I meant this nosy bitch who insists on poking into everyone's nook about everything.
Wait.
What?
Okay, so we did not actually make baby formula the drink for this thing.
Did
but we
someone else
joked
come
about
up
it
with
a
that
lot.
idea?
We joked about it a lot. I was also considering just buying Starbucks Frappuccinos and dyeing them green because I wanted a Starbucks Frappuccino, but
And it's not alcoholic, at least not for me, because I've got surgery in like 4 days. I can't have alcohol.
Well, I'm on a lot of pain meds right now, and
Yeah,
Janaya
that's
has surgery,
true.
so no alcohol for either of us.
Yeah.
So let's pretend the drink of the.
You can imagine
Let's
we're
pretend
drinking
it's-
whatever.
Let's pretend it's baby formula. 'cause
Sure,
that's hilarious.
we're drinking baby formula.
Disgusting.
As far as you know, that is true. All right. Next to you, you see Lanera's face explode into a veritable fireball of green. She starts to stammer and fidget, and you can't help but notice that Daria is grinning from ear to ear at the sight of it.
That is...
Broke down already, huh, Lynn?
You notice that Lanera doesn't correct Daria, but instead looks straight down at her feet and gathers up a handful of her skirt and mumbles something under her breath you can't understand.
What's that? Sorry, I couldn't quite hear.
Can I take a swig of your drink?
Yeah, go for it.
Can't get this allergy pill.
Yeah, go for it. Also, the Daria VA, really got into this. Like, wasn't a Homestuck before, but, ended up, promoting the
took it
game
to
at
a
a
con.
con. Also, she, got advice from her acting class on some of the more, emotional moments. I don't know if she means in this script or in the Volume 14, bit at the end. Because, yeah, that bit. I mean, there's emotional moments in both of them, so it could be either, but that was really cool.
For all of you playing, I want you to be very careful about the choices you make in this volume, because if you fuck it up, you will be sad in volume
Or if you
14.
want to be sad, don't be careful about the choices you make.
Yeah! Yeah. How are we gonna show that to people in the final stream?
I'm gonna make a fake save file for it.
Okay, cool, because I feel like we have to show people those outcomes because they're tragic.
Yeah. I'll make a fake save or just do the developer console to modify the values.
I said that it isn't fair when you say things like that to me.
Daria shrugs and turns to you again. She quickly pushes herself out of the chair and walks over.
What's up, fucker?
Oh well, what's up is... you're actually not sure how to answer that
Yeah, we're pitched. Been pitched for like a sweep now.
Let me see what that cut off. You're not sure to broach the delicate question of the precise nature of their relationship, but...
Daria! You can't just say things like that in front of company.
Yeah, you can.
Why? You ashamed of me? Or are you worried they're gonna find out about your little secret?
She winks at Lanera, who somehow manages to flush an even deeper shade of green. While this not at all awkward moment is happening, you hear the sound of someone approaching through the cavern hallways.
Lanera, do you have a minute to do me a favor?
Oh, look,
1.
it's me.
Please clean out the soper trap in the nursery. 2. Check on the lucci down in the main cavern. 3. Make sure that Wanchi is studying at least an hour. Her last set of marks on the evaluation were atrocious.
Lanera nods quietly to this, and you catch sight of something in her face that's hard for you to place.
Of course. What are Moirels for, after all?
And with a very nervous laugh, Lanera walks off down the far hallway. As soon as she's gone, it's like Branya suddenly notices you all at once, and you can see the now familiar wash of emotions going over her face, the recognition of what she's seeing, and, finally, she smiles at you. Before you know it, you're wrapped up in the second, almost too tight hug inside the last 10 minutes or so.
It's wonderful to see you again. If Wanchi had said something, I would have made something special for you.
Yeah, well, if you're both gonna be doing this, I'm going to my room.
Branya turns and puts a hand on Daria's shoulder. There's a soft look in her eyes, and she smiles and leans in, to kiss Daria on the cheek.
I'll be along in a minute, darling.
Wait, what? Daria smiles out of the corner of her mouth and lets out a short snort of laughter.
Sure thing, darling.
Okay, who should we... Actually, there's an order that's, like, the easiest way to do this, so
Okay.
let me save. And let's... I think we just go in order, basically. Come on, where's my... Actually, can you open this on your computer so you can...
Cheetos are blocking my computer.
This is the text file.
First conversation with Daria.
Okay, so we're talking to Daria here. So, like, the outcome of their relationship varies based on, like, a lot of different factors. They're basically, like, variables tracking how they feel in the background, and then, this will influence. Yeah. We're gonna do the polycule ending, which means
We
you
have
gotta
to do the polycule.
do it. There's more than one way to get it, but this is a way that definitely always works. Alright, so we're gonna go after
What's
Daria.
wrong? Is something the matter?
Well, no, not exactly. You just remembered that you have something you really want to talk to Daria about. You really wanted to talk to Daria about something. That's a typo. A couple of things, actually. Branya's face falls briefly, but she quickly recovers and smiles warmly at you.
Well, when you're ready to come back, I'd love to catch up.
You can't just give me polycules raising children and expect me not to bawl uncontrollably.
Aww. Also, I'd like everyone to appreciate all of the
There
grubs
are
in the
so many
background,
grubs.
which
Also,
was
Brianna
Anna's
will make
idea.
her
Yeah, well, Briona's sitting down, chilling in there.
Wait.
It's very important to keep up with old friends.
Yeah.
Bye.
You said you wanted grubs everywhere.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
my
that was
suggestion.
your request.
I just really like grubs.
Your request was that there should be just like babies everywhere. If you look down here, you can see the pocket grub,
Aw, she's so cute.
who we'll
Brianna.
talk about later because you mentioned the grub with Daria or with Branya.
1. Maintaining regular and positive contact via in-person conversation or chitter messages. 2. Sharing details of mutual interests and hobbies. 3. Ensuring your friends aren't snatched up by Imperial recruitment drones or called for subversive activities.
You manage to catch up with Daria before she has a chance to actually get to her respite block. She wheels on you in the corridor and, well, she's not angry or anything, but she doesn't exactly seem happy to see you either.
What the fuck do you want now? Can't you see I'm busy?
Yeah, sure. She rolls her eyes and waves a hand at you.
Okay, sure, whatever. I'm going to my respite block, so...
Daria quickly walks off down the hall and you trail after her, your infamously stubby legs making it hard to keep up. After a little bit of aimless wandering, you find Daria's respite block with the door open. The room itself is a mess, but it's got a certain kind of organized chaos vibe going for it, rather than the sense of actual disorganization. Inside, it looks like Daria is sitting back on a couch, lounge plank, whatever. She's reading what looks like a comic book. Also, we've got some messages, it's a conversation between her and Tizia, so I'll let it play out.
Can I help you?
I just want to mention one thing.
Yes.
There's a couple times where Daria is saying something that I wrote Tisius to say earlier.
Oh my god! Did you do that on purpose?
No.
Oh,
but
that's
like
great.
the okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I know I recorded that in Tisius's voice.
Oh my god.
They copy each other.
Yeah.
It's great.
Also, the whoopty shit was.
Who started that?
I don't know.
Who said it? Well, I mean, obviously Tisius says it first in the game, but who picked it up from who?
I don't know. She's definitely got her palm husk out. That's for sure. Hey, who's he talking to in that thing? Maybe her Moirail?
Looks like our old ambiguously defined friend is back again. Can't say I'm thrilled. Yeah, they showed up a bit over a cycle ago, I think. Not really sure what they want. Well, does it even matter? It's been so fucking long. I know that. But maybe. Maybe later. Maybe hear them out, okay? They might have something important to say.
Daria's face turns jade and she turns away from you.
None of your fucking business is who I'm talking to. Look, if you're not gonna leave me alone, at least stop standing there like an asshole. What is it?
Oh, well, you mostly just wanted to ask if...
Fine. Can you please just ask already?
Okay, okay, that's first we gotta ask this one.
What's going on around here? Seriously?
Yeah, you know, what's happening? What's the scoop? What's the deal? What's the, you kinda wish you'd spend a little more time brushing up on your Alternian slang so you could relate more to these crazy kids. Wigglers. Whatever. Daria's eyeing you like you just said a pretty stupid thing.
I haven't been a wiggler for a while now. You never even knew me as a wiggler. You are so condescending right now.
Ouch, that one stings a little bit. So here's the fucking affinity meter. Like, if that drops to 0, you get one of the bad endings. There's like 3 different ones for each character. But this is just to introduce it, so you can immediately apologize. Look, you start to explain. Sometimes you just say things, stupid things, wrong things, and you're sorry, because you know that those things hurt other people, and you weren't thinking about how your freeform rambling might actually make her feel. You've been realizing lately that maybe your approach to people hasn't necessarily been the best, that maybe treating other people like brief interactions that can be compartmentalized into 10 or 15 minutes leaves out a lot of the nuance and complexity of interpersonal relationships.
Okay. That's a weird-ass apology. But I guess that's all I'm getting, huh?
She smiles at you and quickly and tactfully redirect the conversation. You just wanted to know how things have been since you left. You're sorry for that, by the way, for disappearing without saying anything.
Look, it's fine. I mean, I guess you did kinda help introduce me to my Moirail. And I know what you did up on the Teal ship. Tisius told me.
You were pretty fired up about the whole anti-Empire thing up there, weren't you? Said a lot of stuff you now have to live up to.
Yeah, exactly. I miss her. Wish I could see her again, but you know how it is.
You're not actually sure if you know how it is, but you nod along anyway, and Daria grins at you.
Yeah, you get it. Besides, Granya's really sweet. And Lynera is, well...
She smiles softly and motions with her hands. Okay, I know that you've got to... With Daria, you always be honest. Like, she responds well to that. What's up with her and Lynera?
We're pitched. Is that enough for you? Or do you want, like, excruciating details on how we fuck or something?
What? Oh, God, no! You really don't think that this is that kind of story? M-rated for sure, but that could solidly into some adults-only territory.
What are the two of them into? You're the only one who would know this.
Bondage. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, she's into bondage.
Yes!
Every single Friendsim character is into bondage. You've heard that here.
But what kind is the question?
Yes.
Actually, there is some other... Well, no, it wasn't. It was just Lynera by herself. It wasn't Daria. Never mind. Judging by Daria's puzzled expression, you feel like you just said basically all of that out loud.
It's fine. Just tell me you were still like this.
Right, but yes, you understand what a pitch relationship is. You suppose it's not a complete surprise or anything.
But I feel like you're gonna add something here.
It seems like there's more to this. Daria narrows her eyes and scowls at you, and then, without further explanation, she becomes very interested in avoiding your gaze and shuffling her feet uncomfortably.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Linnera's a bitch, and I hate her. Which, well, you know the deal. Wouldn't want to go and get too adults only about it for you.
Yeah. You think it's maybe time to steer this conversation in a different direction?
Yeah, let's do that.
Hello,
Whatever.
Sunny Dice.
As if I'm going to be giving a shit what you think of what me and Lynn are.
Thank you all for showing up. Thank you, Sunny D, for popping in, even if you can't stay long.
Yeah, also we've got some more chitter messages from Daria.
Maybe they've got a fucking point.
God, I cannot do that voice right now. Who? About what? What are you talking about, Daria?
Look, don't worry about it. Just some shit. I can't. I don't think I would be able to hit this Daria's Daria.
Yeah, it's very
It's
like
harsh.
it's a hard tenor.
Yeah, it's low. It's harsh. It's like the amount of like hard R's.
Yeah.
Make it so like if I tried doing that Daria, it would lean very Vriska.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I mean, my Daria already leans.
it
Vriska.
works really well, and it's very like distinctive, but it's extremely hard to emulate.
And it's not like you're emulating the Linnera, so.
No, not even a little bit. Oh no, I can't hit that voice. And right now, my allergies have been bothering me a lot, so
Do you
I can't
have
do
drugs?
shit. Yeah, actually, I do. Give me some drugs. I can take out on the side.
Okay,
I just
good.
can't take pain. I can't take.
NSAIDs are
I can't take NSAIDs, and I can't do alcohol, and I can't do weed until after.
Aw, we can't record while
No
high.
weed, not until after I get my surgery, and then I've got to stop after like a week because I've got my other surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
All right.
Getting the surgery of her dreams.
yeah. All right, let me click. She stopped herself. That sounded pretty. You don't know. Is familiar the right word? We've never heard anyone call Linnera by anything other than her full name. Is it normal for pitchmates to call each other pet names? Daria's turning a deep, vibrant green.
I swear to the mother grub herself, I will fucking murder you.
All right, what's with her and Branya?
Well, you know how it is. She's still in charge of the caverns. Keeps us all organized, all that.
Yeah, that's definitely what we were asking about. Definitely wanted to know about her functional duties within the system.
Absolutely hard-ass most of the time. Also, we've been made spritz for, like, almost a sweet.
Branya would be into very soft stuff.
Yeah.
Very soft, vanilla, tender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You feel like maybe she should have led with that part. Daria shakes her head.
What? What is it? You got something to say to me about this?
This feels off somehow, I think is the one I want to choose.
Yes.
Yeah. Daria puts her head down and sighs heavily, and this doesn't feel like something she's putting on. In fact, it feels like she's dropping her guard for a second, just a little bit. You don't say anything. You're worried that saying something will break the spell and she'll be back to her old self.
You're right. Don't suppose you know much about quadrants, do you?
You don't say anything, but it doesn't matter. She's already talking again.
Like, I know how it is. One troll per quadrant. That's how things balance out, right? Duty to the Empire. Duty to each other. All that stupid bullshit. But what if my feelings aren't so fucking simple? What if I'm pitched for her one day and then I'm feeling like I just want things to be soft and...
She stops dead in her tracks and looks up at you, as if she's just realized that she was talking out loud. She shakes her head quickly, looking embarrassed.
Fuck it. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
So the like one-line elevator pitch for this route that started off everything was troll queer theory. Seriously, that's what was written on the production schedule for a while. Alright, the rest of these are just regular talking. What's Wanchi's deal?
Her deal? I'm sorry. You're gonna have to be a bit more specific than that.
Oh, it's just the NYC board of that. Fundraiser! Oh boy!
fun.
They called and emailed and texted me.
That's annoying.
The triple threat.
The New York school system is annoying.
Like, I don't know if there's a way for me to turn off one form of those notifications, because it's like, okay. Well, you know, she's been hanging out in a cave with a pair of fugitives from the Empire. She's really into, like, troll D&D now? You did a whole thing with that.
Yeah, he's super into that shit now. I mean, not that I care about anything like that.
Uh-huh. You're gonna just agree to put a pin on that one for now. Maybe circle back later. Also, what's up with how she's dressed? Doesn't that feel a little bit familiar? Daria screws up her face and looks down at her outfit quickly, then back up at you.
Look, I have no idea what you mean. She just started dressing like that one day. It's not like I told her to or anything.
What should we say? It's cool or it's silly? It
It
does not matter at
I
all.
say we should say it's cool. I like that Wanchi.
This is one of those choices that only affects, like, the dialogue.
Wanchi admires her big sister.
There is a funny line in this where she says, it's not like you can be me by dressing like me, you know? But yeah, we'll do the you think it's really cool. You think that if Wanchi's dressing up like Daria, then that must mean she looks up to Daria at least a little bit. Daria's pretty sharp. Surely she's figured that out by now. Daria turns her head nervously to the side and smiles.
I don't know. Maybe? Ugh.
Well, you think that's totally cool.
Shit. You sound kind of like Branya right now. Couple of goddamn dorks.
Oh, okay, it actually does increase her affinity. Okay, cool. Although Daria's not one of the ones you need to bleed affinity. That's Lanera. What did we get?
It's the same thing.
Where's the notification? Oh, Daria.
What do at Alien Invasion of 1, at Troll20, and at Repsitter's Club have in common? Bunch of fucking dork-ass losers, lol.
Bunch of fucking dork-ass losers, lol. I can get closer than you, but not very close.
That's... Whose voice is that?
That is someone else. Fucking...
That's Carcat! You thought that's a Carcat!
Oh, I hate it.
You're not allowed to give Daria Carcat's voice.
My name is Daria Johnson. Bunch of fucking... It's... God, it is Carcat adjacent,
Yeah.
isn't it? We're getting into Carcat territory. Everyone seems so tense.
That's your big observation here? What you're taking away from everything?
Well, sure, it's true, right? They all seem really stressed out in this kind of vague, hard-to-define way. What's that even about?
Fucking seriously. You do realize we're all basically waiting to get shipped off world, right? Like, even if that wasn't the likely outcome, even if I could get out of here or something, what would happen?
Well, it seems to be working out okay for Lank and Elward, right? Daria laughs at you.
Yeah, fucking right. Hiding out and just waiting for the day that the drones come along and find them. Or they
voice
make a
is
wrong
sarcastic.
move and end up
It
on
is.
the end
Yeah,
of a
it is.
legislacerator's gun. There's only one likely outcome for them, and that's they end up dead.
Which feels appropriate.
Dark
I'd
Cat.
rather live
Dark
my
cat.
whole life in the fucking cloisters. Or maybe in some shithole colony, managing rust
Daria
blood
should
tax.
have raised baby Carcat.
Those do all sound like pretty bad options, true. But surely there's some bright side here. There must be something that makes this all worthwhile.
What, you mean other than sneaking out to play underground concerts with the band and fucking my pitch mate in the back of the library? No, not really.
You say you hope you can throw Zebra into a window? You'll do something a little better than
Yeah.
that. That volume 7 will be
You don't
very
get to do physical violence to Zebra.
But you'll get to do psychological violence.
Yeah. Now you're the one feeling embarrassed and immediately regretting that you went down this line of conversation. Can she really talk about literally anything else? What was that about a band?
Deep.
Daria glares at you, but there's a trace of a smile on her lips. She doesn't answer right away, but instead fidgets with her hands for a few seconds, as if she's taking the time to process what this conversation is going to reveal about her.
Ah, I got a band. We play a lot of bronze blood grunge punk and shit like that. Our singer's all about that, and yeah.
You're kind of unclear on exactly how much alternating culture revolves around the arts in general. You've definitely seen music and art, obviously, but it feels like there's always a certain undercurrent of expectation to cater to the high bloods, or at least to acknowledge their place in society. Daria grins at you and sticks up a middle finger. Oh, nice to know that gesture translates across your universes like that.
Well, fucking no. We don't have to cater to shit. This is underground protest music. Shit could get us caught.
Oh, geez, that sounds really dangerous. Isn't she worried about what might happen if the Empire caught wind of things? Daria shrugs.
You sound like Branya, jeez. She doesn't want me doing the concerts. But after what went down with Elward, she's not going too hard on the I'm your mate, Sprit, and I worry about you thing.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Daria's playing in an underground punk band. That's definitely not dangerous and a little bit insane at all.
Yeah, well, some of us aren't happy just nursing sick grubs back to health all day.
Wait, but the band hasn't been together in a little bit, because...
No, it hasn't. No, but Chixie's still been performing. And Elward's been helping her. But no, the band hasn't been fully together for a while.
Yeah, it's been at least a sweep.
Yeah. Daria glares at you through narrowed eyes.
As fucking great as it's been to catch up, I'm kind of busy right now. So maybe go bother someone else for a while.
You know what? That sounds like a fantastic idea. You're sure Daria could use some time to reflect on her horribly depressing life circumstances.
Thanks. Yes.
AU, where instead of talking about the Kisses contract, Jesus and Tagora are just discussing band stuff.
Oh my god. We are talking to Branya next, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah, I figured it was just in linear order. Although technically the order doesn't really matter, but whatever. You head back toward the common room you first saw Branya in, guided by your impeccable friend senses. Sure enough, she's still in there, sitting down in one of the armchairs and reading quietly to herself.
Oh, it's you again.
It sure is. You're definitely being non-intrusive and not pestering anyone at all. On an unrelated note, would you mind answering a series of increasingly personal questions?
Oh, of course. I'd love to answer your questions. Which I'm sure won't be 1. Overly invasive. 2. Take up too much time.
She smiles at you broadly. Lots of questions.
What did you want to know about the caverns? That's such a broad question, and I could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, okay, that's a pretty good point. Well, you guess you were wondering about the general situation in the caverns? Like, you noticed there's no more drones around, and that feels kind of weird. Plus, aren't they all supposed to be off-world or something?
Oh my goodness, yes! 1. The drones were scheduled to be removed for refitting, but we haven't gotten replacements yet. 2. We're all currently waiting to be relieved by someone else who can take over our duties in the cavern. 3. At that time, we will be assigned off-world somewhere.
Her voice trails off, and you can hear how sad she sounds. Well, wait a minute, you interrupt quickly. Maybe she's done such a good job that they'll let her stick around.
It doesn't really work like that. What I do here, any Jadeblood with proper training can do it. Well, most of it.
She steals a glance over at one of the grubs making its way along a low bench in one corner of the common room. You remember the nursery, all those grubs that would surely be suitable only for culling if Branya wasn't there to help them. You wonder what would happen if she wasn't there, if someone less compassionate or less willing to defy the Empire was in charge.
Defy the Empire? Goodness, no!
Oh, well, shit, you did the thing again. No, you clarify. You don't mean defy the Empire, more like, going against established rules and procedures in a way that's surely not going to be noticed. Branya looks nervous.
As long as we're clear about that, I would never want to defy the Empire. Why?
She doesn't say anything else. She doesn't have to say anything else. Your mind immediately goes to the other people living in the caverns. All the people that Branya's committed herself to taking care of. What would happen to them if she were seen as defiant? You really don't want to keep going down this particular mental footpath, so you quickly change the subject. Where's Karako? Bronya's face falls as soon as the question leaves your mouth. She shifts and grabs a handful of skirt in her hands, working the cloth between her fingertips as she bites her lip.
She's not here right now.
Wait, did she maybe misspeak? You thought Karako was a boy? Bronya shrugs.
No, she wasn't. Isn't. She's still out there somewhere.
It really feels like she's talking past you now. Something about Karako specifically is hitting her very close to home, and you're not sure how to pry this particular nugget of information out.
In any case, I don't want to talk about it.
If you do come on, it'll just knock her affinity down. She'll get mad at you, so we're not going to do that.
Let's not make Bronya mad. I don't want to make her mad.
Okay, sorry. Bronya shakes her head, and there's a deep sadness behind her eyes. You wish you could say something to her, something to make this all better, but you really don't know what you could possibly say that would end up making this exponentially worse. You end up settling for a half-hearted smile and a little bit of a wave. Bronya nods at you.
I appreciate that you're trying at least.
Lanera seems nice. Bronya squints and smiles softly.
Oh, she is. She is. 1. Always cheerful about her work around the caverns. 2. Always willing to help the others. 3.
Bronya clears her throat.
3. She is the best Moirail I could ever hope to have.
Bronya's face breaks into a grin that feels strangely forced. You know what? This is actually getting kind of ridiculous. You've been dancing around this for so long now, and it's painfully obvious what's going on here. Which is the,
Lanera is obviously flushed for you.
That was written before I changed the tense of the choices. Bronya lets out a heavy, long sigh and shakes her head. There's a lot here, a lot to unpack and process, and maybe you push things a little bit too much. Then again, you're getting sick and tired of all these people who refuse to talk about their feelings with each other.
You're wrong about that. We're pale with each other. Moirails. The best Moirails.
She laughs nervously, that same forced feeling from before, and this actually hurts to watch. You caught on pretty quickly that Lanera had a gigantic crush on Bronya. She wasn't exactly subtle about it. That's that same wasn't subtle about it language,
Yeah.
like with Tizios.
Yeah. Did you do that intentionally?
I think I might have.
Also, there is a reason why Bronya is just my customer service.
But you might have misjudged how Bronya felt in return. Has she considered that maybe, and you're just putting this out there, that she might have some feelings for Lanera that she hasn't fully explored?
Stop it! 1. I'm in a happy matespritship with someone else, something I take very seriously. 2. Lanera and I are Moirails, and even if I weren't already spoken for in that quadrant, the idea of vacillating like that it's not supposed to be like that. I really need you to stop poking your non-existent nose into situations that have nothing to do with you.
So she and Dark. Oh, what do we got?
I am very happy with my mate spritz. And anyone who suggests otherwise knows nothing about my relationship with my mate spritz.
Bron, you said mate spritz like twice.
Oh, what a silly mistake!
So she and
Yes,
Daria
I
think-
suppose you could say we are a thing. If by that you mean we are in a happy matespritship together, of course.
Yeah, that's basically what you meant. It's just, well, it's a little bit... You're trying to find a way to put this that won't make Bronya feel awful. You never really got the sense that Bronya and Daria were interested in each other like that. Bronya doesn't seem to like this. She knits her eyebrows and frowns at you.
Because you know so much about our matespritship? Because you know so much about all of us? After more than 2 sweeps, you know people change, right?
Yeah, you guess that's true. You think back on everyone you've met up until now, on how their lives have diverged at some point while you weren't there. You wonder how many others you'll meet whose lives have similarly branched away from their original path. Who are you to judge?
Thank you for being so understanding. In any case, 1. Daria and I have been matespritz for almost a sweep now. 2. We both experience a happy balance of flush, pitched, and pale quadrants. 3. We are both very happy with how things are and hardly experience a single thought to the contrary.
Wait, who's Bronya's pitch?
No, it's saying that the three of them collectively.
Oh, okay.
So she's talking about Daria. Yeah, Bronya isn't pitched with anyone. Doesn't really feel like her
Who
vibe.
would Bronya be pitched with?
I don't know. She doesn't really feel like a Pitch kind of person.
I mean, obviously Elward wanted to be Pitch with her.
Yeah. But she didn't want to be Pitch with Elward.
Nah. Bronya is, a concupiscent.
She
Wait,
smiles.
Is concupiscent the...
No, it's not. Concupiscent is both the flushed and Pitch. It's the ones that involve fucking, basically.
Okay, what is the word?
I don't
for-
know.
Fuck. It's been so...
Acosmetic.
Yeah, Bronya's acosmetic.
What is it with the meat spritz thing? Plural. Jangly, I'm assuming that's coming back later. Flashes exposed, but I'm interested if you can tell. You'll see.
Yeah, it's just that she's got feelings for both Lynera and Daria. Like, not Pitch, flesh feelings. It's a Freudian slip. She smiles somewhat unconvincingly.
You understand this is all normal, right?
Which one is it? I think it's definitely, I think it's no.
Actually, no.
Yeah. Bronya frowns and looks down at her feet.
And what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, okay, and you really don't want her to take this the wrong way. Has she considered that maybe her feelings might be more complicated than she thought?
Oh, acolliginous.
Acolliginous, yes, that's it.
Yes.
Bronya looks down at you evenly and shakes her head.
That's silly. Everyone knows that. 1. Quadrants are designed to simplify and organize our lives. 2. It's for our own good that they're kept separate. 3. Vacillation and quadrant infidelity only cause more problems than they're worth.
But does she really believe all of that? Does she really, truly believe it? Like, for example, maybe she does have red feelings for Daria. But what if, and this is purely hypothetical, she also had similar feelings for someone else too? Would that be bad? Would it matter how she feels as long as she was being honest and open with other people involved? Bronya begins to look deeply embarrassed.
This is silly. Everyone knows you're not supposed to act like that. It just causes more problems than it's worth.
Okay, sure. And maybe she doesn't like hearing it, but maybe it's something she needs to hear. Bronya frowns at you. Also, I like the fact that you can basically, like, take these conversations in a completely different direction. Because you can just be like, yeah, sure, sounds like everything is fine, you're doing great, and it changes how they relate to each other. I don't remember what the outcome is if you just kind of, like, agree with everything. I think if you do that, Daria and Lynera end up pale, and Bronya and Daria stay together. I'm pretty sure, but Lynera and Bronya don't end up together. I'm pretty sure that's what, like, the kind of default outcome if you just, like, agree with everything is.
Yeah, Bronya's heart's going way down.
Yeah, she's one you've gotta kind of, like, watch it with, because some of the stuff you say to her to get the polycule, she doesn't like.
Oh.
Same with Lynera.
I'd rather talk about something else now, if it's all the same to you.
Going off worlds. A heavy sigh leaves Ranya's lips, and she leans forward and shakes her head slowly.
One day soon, anyway. As soon as the caverns are brought back up to full capacity. The drones need repair, and we need additional Jades to come in and take over for the 3 of us.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out who the 3 of us refers to, so you don't ask her to explain.
And then we'll all do our duty.
What does that mean? You're not completely sure what it is that Jade Bloods do once they go off-world. Something about Space Church?
You're thinking of the clowns, I think. Jade Bloods end up in the cloisters, though. Or on the colonies. It depends on what's needed at any given moment.
She's looking at the ground as she says it, and you're sitting here trying to figure out what exactly the implications of all this are. You remember Lank talking about the cloisters, but he wasn't very keen on giving you specifics.
The cloisters are... It's where we go to prepare new mother grubs. To ensure our species has a future.
We had to think up what the fuck the cloisters were because they never tell you what that means. It's just like, it's a thing that's bad, I guess. So we came up with the idea that's where they, like, hatch the mother grubs. Also, I like the headcanon that the Jades, like, if they're not cloistered, they're basically, like, sent to the colonies to basically be, like, mid-level officers. They're, like, colony administrators.
That tracks.
Which sounds like a fucking awful job.
Mm-hmm.
But there are strict rules. For one thing, we wouldn't be allowed to hold any kind of attachments to others that might influence our thinking.
So, wait a minute. Is she saying that she'd have to be by herself? They wouldn't keep her together with anyone else? Not her mate Sprit or her Moira? Bronya nods solemnly.
And how exactly do you think I feel about that?
This will make her thing go down, so we're gonna just waffle it. Let's go with conflicted. When she responds to you, her voice is full of bitterness.
You could say that, yes. I have many mixed feelings about the circumstances we're in right now. But it doesn't matter, because I have my grubs to care for. I have people I care about.
One of the first lines written for this game.
It's from the first trailer.
It's from the first trailer.
I have responsibilities. And if I stop for even 1 second to worry about what happens next...
She trails off, and you're sure you can see the tears forming in the corner of her eyes. You know what? Maybe we'd better to just talk about something else. Yeah, a good distraction is always a solid plan.
I don't want to leave. I don't want us to be apart.
Bronya sniffles quietly and smiles again. This time, it isn't the broad faux smile she was putting on before, but something smaller, quieter, and oh so much sadder. What's with all the grubs?
Grubs.
Did anyone notice that there's grubs, well, basically everywhere? You got the impression from your last visit that they were kind of fragile.
They are, but it's important that they also have a safe environment to explore in.
Brianna.
After all, grub enrichment is critical in ensuring proper wiggler development.
Well, except for the ones she's nursing back to health, right? They need to be kept safe from harm more than the others. Bronya looks off to the side nervously.
Yes? Well, 1. Every grub deserves the same chance at a healthy life. 2. Rules to the contrary are nonsense.
Huh, you never thought you'd hear her say something like that. She's sure she doesn't have a little bit of a rebellious streak in her? Bronya's face blanches and she shakes her head vigorously.
Of course not!
Okay, sure. That seems reasonable and not at all like a lie. As you're about to move this increasingly awkward conversation along, you hear a soft chirp coming from Bronya's coat pocket. Looking down, you see a tiny grub poking their head out, grinning at you.
It's Brianna.
Which, there, you could see it better. Gah!
Oh, yeah. They were significantly smaller than the other grubs at hatching. I doubt they would have survived on their own, especially given standard procedure in such cases.
So, she just decided to carry them around in her pocket?
Just until they get bigger. After all, every grub deserves the same chance at a healthy life.
Fucking...
Look at her.
face.
It's so cute.
That-
I wanna make a tiny Brianna grub.
I know. So for those of you who aren't like in our server and all, that the grub has a name. It's Priona libica. It comes from a combination of bits of the rusty spotted cat and the African wild cat. And it's also what I named my cat. I said I was gonna get a kitten. I was gonna name her Priona, and I have a not a kitten anymore, and also she's getting kind of fat, named Priona.
She's great.
She is
You
great.
guys should all join the Studio Jin server so you can see whenever Janaya posts pictures of Brianna.
Yeah, she's very.
Or as we sometimes call her, Piona.
Piona.
Because she kind of smells like pee.
She does kind of smell like pee. She smiles softly and reaches down to tickle the tiny grub's head. They respond with another soft chirp and a half-hearted attempt to bite Bronya's finger. Interestingly
I wanna
enough,
put the pocket grub in my mouth.
Interestingly enough, real Priona loves biting your hand.
Ah! Yeah, she does.
Huh, you think it's really cool that she's fighting back against the Empire system like that?
Oh no! I'm not fighting the Empire, just not telling them about this. It's not an important detail. As matriarch of these caverns, it is well within my rights to make these decisions.
You suspect that that's not actually true, but you wisely decide not to press the issue anymore.
I think maybe it would be best if you gave me a minute.
You're about to argue with her, but you catch the look in her eyes, and you decide that, yeah, maybe we'd be better go talk to someone else for a while. Or do something else. Literally anything other than bother Bronya. So I'll go to Linera. Well, this was great and all, but you figure you should definitely go see what Linera's up to. After all, it would be rude to ignore the friend who greeted you when you arrived here. You wander off to find Linera. You still vaguely remember the way from before, and you can't help but think that this whole situation is feeling odd. Like you've stepped into a wholly different genre of experience yet again. Fortunately, you don't have the time to reflect on things, because you quickly arrive at Linera's weird, creepy murder dungeon.
Wait, the drink is not a drink, it's food. It's Cheetos because they look like grubs.
Oh my god. Except it isn't a weird, creepy murder dungeon.
I love how the plushes are a thing.
Yeah, in fact, it just kind of looks like a quiet side room in a university library or something. The room is lined with bookshelves, mostly full of regular non-murder themed books. You can make out a few titles, boring stuff like grub raising, best practices, and the 7 habits of the highly organized auxiliatrix, and, okay, that one sounds like it's probably a somewhat salacious romance novel. At one end of the room, Linnea sits behind a wooden desk, writing in a small journal. She closes the journal with a soft thump and gets up to greet you.
Oh, it's you again. My apologies for before. I shouldn't have left without saying anything else.
Honestly, you're still kind of reeling at the redecoration that's been happening here. This is, well, it looks pretty nice. Linnea adjusts that sweater vest she always seems to be wearing and smiles at you expectantly. About the murder dungeon.
Excuse me? The what?
Linnea's eyebrows knit up and she looks around the room quickly. Oh, you know, you say very casually. Still working on being super casual literally all the time, after all. The horrible murder dungeon where she tied you up and threatened your life.
My study. Are you talking about my study?
Yeah, that. Study, murder dungeon. It's all good. Just that you notice that she's changed the decor lately. What's that about? Linnea's face is a mix of confusion and the first traces of genuine pain.
But it always looked like this. I'm sorry. I know it might be a little bit dusty, but to call it a murder dungeon is very rude.
Wait. So she'll get mad at you and you'll lose things which we can't afford right now, so we're going to apologize. Obviously, there's been some kind of fundamental miscommunication. You try to think back, to remember what was happening at the time. You were stressed out. You'd just been tied up and were being interrogated.
You were an intruder. What was I supposed to do? Let you just go hurt the people I love?
Oh shit, you hadn't thought about it like that. Maybe she didn't see a random stranger appearing in her home one day in such a great light. Okay, but seriously, this room hasn't changed?
No. Well, I mean, I did get one new thing. I don't think you saw these.
So cute.
See what? The one disadvantage to not picking if you push the issue, she keeps talking about it and about how you were an intruder, and she says with how was I supposed to know that you were just here to make friends? Who even does that?
So about these plushes, I have them. Well, I have the Bronya one, and I'm currently working on making the Linnea one for Tanaya. They are in this game because I make those a lot for fun, and if you have been to the Studio Jun server, you've probably seen me post my Friendsim plushes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Spend time in the Studio Jun server. We post things there.
She walks over to a shelf and picks up 3 small plush dolls. They're clearly made to look like Bronya, Linnea, and Daria, albeit rendered in the somewhat crude medium of felt. They're cute. Linnea gives each of the dolls a squeeze in turn and smiles.
My Kiss Me Sis and my Moirail and me? It's been the 3 of us for a while, and maybe it's not always easy, but at least we have each other.
She sets the dolls down on the shelf again and turns to smile at you.
Was there something else you wanted to ask about?
Also, we get Linnea. Why would I have a dungeon at all? Let alone one for murder. Never mind. It was a misunderstanding.
After the stream, I will post the plushes.
Yes.
Actually, I'll just straight up post a picture of my entire homestead shelf because you guys deserve to see Grubcat as well. Because Grubcat is relevant to the route, I guess, because grubs.
Yeah. Alright. Her and Daria, what's that about?
Oh, well, we've been pitched for about a sweep now?
Linnea looks down at the ground, her eyes flitting back and forth as a frown plays across her face.
She's always doing things that I think they're dangerous. I hate her.
You're still trying to get your head around exactly what the whole pitch quadrant thing even means. It seems kind of like a rivalry thing, enemies to lovers. Honestly, you're not sure, especially after seeing the kind of weird dynamic that Tagore and Galax seem to have going on.
Well, we're here to make sure we're our best. She pushes my buttons and I push hers, but in a good way.
She's blushing deeply, fidgeting with her sweater and smiling. You're not even sure if this is typical behavior for a cosmesis.
Oh, it's very normal.
Yeah. I think this isn't
You
good.
want to say this isn't good?
Hers is one where you have to do one way and one the other way. Otherwise, you'll bottom out her affinity and you'll get a game over.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're wondering if maybe she's not being completely honest with her feelings.
You think I'm lying to you? Why would I do that?
No. You don't think she's lying, just that, it sounded like she almost admitted she cared about Daria and then stopped herself. And you're not sure exactly how all of this kinesis stuff works, but maybe at least she sees herself as having some conflicting feelings.
The only conflict we have is the healthy pitch kind.
Okay, but it doesn't really feel like she believes that. Nara's face falls and she stares down at the ground.
That's not true. Everything's fine and we don't have any problems at all.
So that's Rania, huh? A tint of color expands from Nara's cheeks to cover her whole face. She's smiling in a way you don't think you've seen from her before.
I love her.
Oh, okay. Lanera blinks and shakes her head, as if she just snapped herself back to reality.
As a Moirail, I don't want things to be unclear at all. I love having her as a Moirail.
Not even a little bit what you said.
She's kind and considerate, and she's always trying to do what's best. I can't imagine having a better Moirail in the whole world.
She smiles at you, nervous and forced. You're seeing a lot of these kinds of smiles lately. This is all fine. I remember that.
I want to make sure. Yeah, this is fine.
Lanera smiles again and nods vigorously, as if she's trying to convince herself as much as anything.
Exactly. You understand how it is, how it feels to have complicated feelings about people.
You're not sure that you said that exactly? Pretty sure that your vague, non-committal response was designed mainly to draw as little negative attention as possible.
Sometimes those feelings aren't what you're supposed to have. Sometimes they're a lot more involved. And sometimes they're for people you're too afraid to even tell about them.
Someone says, Lanera is so beautiful. Whoever designed her did an amazing job on her.
This was Riot Breaker, who does amazing art at Riot BREAKR, I think it is on Twitter.
Credits are in the
credits are in the thingy, and her art is really good, and she did all the sprites for this except for one. She also did some sprites for another unreleased project that I was working on a couple of years ago that I will probably release at some point. The New Game Plus stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because she finished them. Like, the sprites are all done for that.
She did Jade, right?
No, she did Aradia and then the 3 OCs.
Right, yeah.
No, yeah. Jade was Goatheart did Jade. What's happening?
And that's all fine.
You're not actually sure that any of this was qualified as
Thank you so much for talking to me. You're such a good friend.
That went about as well as you should have expected it would. You rushed to quickly change the subject. Let's see what we got. I'm so glad to have at Grub Sitters Club as a Moirail. I'm so glad. At Cheated Up Citriatic. How do you feel about me? No, never mind.
This just in, Janaya and Anna hate pitch relationships. There can only be red. I mean, you've read my fanfic. You know that's not the case. I just, Janaya wanted the 3 of those J-Bloods to all kiss together.
They are not pitch for each other. Like, they're just not, like, none of them are able to sustain that. Like, Bronya's not the kind of person who would want that. Lanera honestly really isn't either. She's just, like, way worse at communicating her feelings. And, like, Daria feels like someone who would be into that, but, like, not with either of those two.
Who would Daria be pitched for?
I don't know.
Let's have some speculation. Who, in the chat, if not Lanera, who would Daria be pitched for? Let's start a shipping war.
Also, I wrote the Galora stuff, so you can't even say that.
Oh, wait, you think my music gives you Spirited Away vibes? This is not even the piece that I heavily borrowed from Ghibli soundtracks. The
Yeah,
other
that's
one heavily
coming
borrows
up.
from the Castle in the Sky soundtrack. I need to turn on the light, because
It's getting dark. Yeah, Anna did a really good job with the music here. This is one of the older tracks, like a year old. And then there's another one that you'll hear in a little bit that's very recent, actually. About the caverns.
Oh, what did you want to know?
You were mostly wondering what was happening with the caverns in general. If you're remembering your Alternian lore correctly, they should all be at about the age where they have to go off-world, right?
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I'm already half a sweep past when I could be called for ascension. Even Daria's hit 10 sweeps.
You say, I have read your fic, and who's pitching the progeny? That's right, nobody? Have you read the progeny, then? Or are you just denying that that Theseus and Tagora are pitched because you want Galora to still be pitched? Because Galora's flushed now, so they're still together.
Galora's pitching Friendsim 2 at least. You've still got that. I feel like Kismeses is hard to sustain, like in a healthy way. Like,
I mean, that's why people in...
We're all just waiting for them to find someone suited to take over, and then...
she doesn't finish the sentence, but you can see how her gaze drops. As soon as they find someone else to take over, the rest of them are gone.
The only reason we're still here is because no one has been found yet that meets the rigorous standards for cavern duty.
Who do we want to ask about? It does not matter. None of these affect anything. I think the Branya one might, like, bump her affinity up slightly, but it doesn't matter. We can ask about any of them. Who should we ask about?
Yeah.
Chat?
Yeah, chat. Who do you
should
want?
we suggest for Cavern? Who would take over?
I feel like the line will be really funny.
It's pretty. It's funny. I think it's funny. She just gets bitchy about Lank.
Oh, you tend to forget about... Yeah. Yeah, most people don't ship Tizgora. I just like it. And that's the point of fan fiction. Just write what you like.
The least common ship ever, but it's pretty uncommon.
Not quite as uncommon as Trixie and Elward.
Yeah.
Which is maybe the least common. Oh.
We got
one vote for Branya, one vote for Daria. I put in my vote for Lank. We got 2 Darias.
Alright, Daria. Maybe Daria could take over. She seems like she'd be willing to defy the Empire at least a little bit. Maybe she should keep the others on world.
I suppose, but she's far too disinterested.
You don't know. You feel like Daria's maybe a little bit more mature and responsible than she was before.
I didn't say she was irresponsible. I just don't think she wants this. I don't think she really wants to be here. Not with us. Not with me. I'm sorry, but I think you should be going now. I've got some things I want to write down, and I'd rather have some privacy.
You know how to take a hint with the best of them, so you quickly and quietly excuse yourself to go find someone else to talk to. Alright, who do we get? Oh, Linera. Oh, here's the responses.
Linera, are you okay?
Oh yes, of course! What the fuck are you talking about? You really don't want to bother any of them right now? It feels like they've all got their own issues to work through privately, and maybe it isn't your place to try to solve everyone else's problems like this. It's just, you've got your standard pitch about, hey, let's smash the fucking Empire to go through, and you haven't even gotten to it yet. This will actually change depending on which you've been choosing. So if you've been leaning towards salvation, it'll be like let's get out of here.
Look at this horribly first thing.
What the fuck?
Queen Elizabeth Netflix special.
Why is there a Queen Elizabeth Netflix special?
She just died, and everyone saw the asshole of the British Empire.
I hope it's clear from the context of our game what our position on the monarchs of genocidal empires are. Instead, you wander around vaguely back to the common room. Bronya isn't there anymore, but you do see Wanchi sitting in the corner with a thick book open in her lap. Looks like some kind of gaming source book. When she hears you approaching, Wanchi closes the book and stands up quietly.
It's you again, Ulu.
It's you again, all right. You sigh and look around the common room. The whole vibe of the caverns is really inviting. It's got this warm quality that just makes you think of home. Warmth and comfort, and you can see why keeping this alive means something to Bronya. A grub nudges by your foot with a soft noise of irritation. You carefully step out of the way, letting the little fella move along their way. Those grubs are just all over the place, getting into everything.
You should reach down and pick one up and stick it in your
Bronya takes care of them all. Her and Lanera mostly. Daria helps too, but they try to pretend they're only doing it because of their mate's
So,
sprit.
interesting thing that you might not notice, but is consistent. So Daria uses she/they pronouns. Different characters refer to them using different pronouns. Like, Wanchi always uses they, them. Lanera always uses she, her. Bronya, I think, mixes it up a little bit. I'm pretty sure. Bronya, right. You're still getting used to the way that those three have their whole deal going on. I'm not gonna lie, you didn't quite imagine that you'd be getting so deeply invested in relationship drama on this trip.
Well, that's what they're kind of all about these days. That and generally being nervous about going off-world, I guess, Ulu.
Which reminds you of what Lanera had told you, about launching her testing. She leans in and hisses at you.
Keep quiet about that. I know Lanera's not gonna say anything, but if Bronya finds out...
It's okay, you're not gonna say anything to her. Besides, you think you understand why she's doing this, and honestly, it's something you can get behind. Wanchi relaxes and settles back, hefting her book and smiling.
As long as you're not gonna snitch on me to Bronya, Ulu.
And suddenly, her smile fades again.
It's not like I can hold out much longer. I'll pass my ordeals eventually, or I'll get cold and they'll find someone else. One way or another.
She doesn't finish the sentence, but she doesn't need to. Sooner or later, the clock's going to run out on all of them. Wanchi's trying to keep that from happening, but she can't do it forever.
Yeah.
But she knows what you're about. Hope! Hope for a better future. A future without the Empire.
I know, but trying to convince them of that is basically impossible. Not while they're also up each other's asses about their quadrants, Ulu.
Okay, so you're open to basically any ideas at this point? Wanchi puts her chin in her hands and she considers this. Come on, she's already made her decision here. You know she's doing the whole rebellious teen thing, but she obviously cares about the others. What was our update? Wanchi.
At Grubsters Club, at Jaded Sociatic, at Space Dice Quarterbacks, you all obviously want to fuck each other. Just do it already, Ulu.
Of course I do. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. You want to get them to listen, you're gonna need to untangle their stupid bullshit a little bit, Ulu.
Yeah, you gathered. But how? Eventually, Wanchi snaps her fingers and nods.
I got it, Ulu.
She's got it? Is she planning to share that information with you at any point, or is this going to be the world's least fun version of 20 questions? Wanchi rolls her eyes pointedly.
We're gonna go talk to Daria, Ulu.
You make your way down the corridor toward Daria's respite block, carefully avoiding a few more grubs that are just kind of crawling around the hallways. God, really don't know that they should be allowed to wander around like that. What if someone were to sit on them and crush them with their ass? Oh my god, the fucking watch your language.
Wachi Ariana, what's your language?
Why would anyone do something like that, Ulu?
You don't know, okay? Sometimes you just have these thoughts and you're not sure where they come from.
Pretty sure I told you I'm busy, didn't I?
When Daria notices Wanchi, she raises an eyebrow and cocks her head to the side. Her tone softens noticeably.
What do you want, Grub Size?
We need to talk to you. Well, the alien needs to talk to you. It's important, Ulu.
Daria frowns and looks back and forth between the two of you. She's perceptive enough to know exactly where this is going, and you get the sinking feeling in your gut that she's just going to shout you down about it. But she doesn't.
Fine. Come in, let's talk. Fuck, what else am I doing, right? Look, I have been talking to my Moirail, and I know what you're going to say. You know, misfiled paperwork, start fires, smash the fucking system, all that good shit.
Yes.
Fuck yeah!
Wait, fuck yeah, just like that? So there's
Daria, she's not
there's
gonna be
certain
hard.
like choices you can make that will influence how easy it is to convince them of the path you want to take. So like if you've been really pushing revolution and then you're like, actually no, you have to argue with them to convince them.
I think you should not do that.
Yeah, I'm
That'll
not
make
gonna
you
do
sad.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be that fucking simple. But my Moirail means a lot to me, so I'm down if she's down. Besides, she wouldn't even know what to do without me. Not that it matters a whole lot, because I can't do a fucking thing right now. In case you haven't noticed, I've got a mate spread and a Kismesis to worry about. I care about those two.
You do notice that she didn't make any real distinction between the two quadrants when talking about them, and maybe that means something, but it doesn't matter on those specifics because she's right. So what do you even do?
We need to talk to Linera. We need to talk to Linera about this. If we're on the same page, we can probably convince Branya. You know this isn't going to be easy, right? What you're suggesting is different. And Branya isn't really about different right now.
Without waiting for a response, Daria walks off down the hallway, presumably to go find Branya. You're about to turn to follow, but you notice that Wanchi's just standing there, her eyes watering a little bit. Hey buddy, what's wrong? Wanchi glares at you.
Don't call me that. Do you really think you can convince them? Are they really going to stay with me? Ooh.
Well, you can't make any promises yet, but you're going to try your best. Wanchi smiles at you.
Thanks. That's all I can really ask, I guess.
If you're picking the path that Wanchi hasn't chosen, like if you were trying to do salvation in this route, or vice versa, she'll get like more pissed off at you at this point. She gives you like this good fucking luck talking with Linera, I guess.
I'm gonna go to my room. Good luck talking
This
to
line is
Linera,
different.
ooh.
Also, I think we've got one more response to the Wanchi thing.
Why? I've heard you talk to your mate spirit when you think no one is listening.
As you're walking down the hallways of the caverns, you start to wonder something out loud. How come Daria hasn't been acting particularly angry at you? Like, she is angry, but in a way that was, in the way that she was before, and not in some kind of uniquely brand new way that implies an anger directed specifically at you, rather than the system as a whole.
You're still just as insecure, huh?
Yeah.
You know what her voice reminds me of?
What?
Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah! A lot!
Like,
Damn, yeah!
like, straight out of Russian doll.
Yeah, it does. It sounds very similar. Yeah, basically, but she didn't answer the question. Daria groans to herself. The two of you reach a small landing, a kind of alcove in the middle of a set of shallow stairs that leads eventually to Linera's study, which you are now 100% sure is not a murder dungeon.
Why waste my time being angry at you? For what? I'm sure you had a good reason to leave. It's not like anyone expected you to show up in the first place. You being a fucking alien and all that.
She does make a really good point, but still, you think that Tizius made a really good point too. You got to know people here, and then you just abandoned them.
Tizius is my Moirail, and I love her. But sometimes she can be a bit intense when it comes to this. Bet she gave you the whole why you've abandoned us speech, huh?
Oh yeah, is that the kind of thing she does a lot?
No, but she was bitching to me about you before you showed up. If it makes you feel any better, she seems to think you're really trying to make this right.
You are! That is absolutely a thing that you're doing. Problem is, it kind of feels like this is a situation that just isn't going to be made right so easily. Daria shrugs and looks away.
Who fucking knows?
You're back in Linera's study again. It looks like Linera is writing something in some kind of journal or diary or something at her desk. Daria clears her throat, causing Linera to jump up and quickly shove the book away into a compartment on the desk.
You're back. Oh, and you've got Daria with you. Daria, what are you doing here?
She's smiling in a way that has you starting to feel really self-conscious about being here.
Look,
Watch that.
we need to talk, Linera.
Fuck. Be a
About
voyeur
what?
this far.
Is something wrong?
Daria doesn't answer right away. Instead, she shakes her head softly. Here's the second song that you wrote for this.
No, nothing's wrong. It's just, we need to talk. Our, friend over there has something they need to say.
These just influence the balance of the arguments later, so we'll be consistent. They don't
Exactly. That's just what I was saying before. Point is, we don't have to keep living like this anymore.
I've got a lot to think about lately. I wish that this song I'd mixed a little louder.
I mean, I bumped it up a little bit.
Oh, you did? It
Yeah.
still feels very quiet. I mean, that's the
Living
problem with,
like this? Like
you know,
what exactly?
heavy music in general. This is gonna be quieter.
Lanera frowns and looks back and forth between you and Daria. You know how they can fight back. Lanera doesn't look less skeptical. If anything, she looks at you with even more confusion than a second ago.
Why would you say that? Don't you understand? I'm happy here. I'm happy with my Moirail and my Kismesis.
She nods at Daria, who looks away with a small smile. I don't understand these two. Okay, this is the... Why can't she admit how she feels?
Is this one that we have to make sure?
Yeah, it is, but I remember at this point.
Yeah, wait. About... Oh, that's about... Yeah, why can't you just admit how she feels?
Daria is smiling as soon as you say it, but you can see the heat behind Lanera's face as she looks away.
I don't know what you mean. I'm perfectly open about how I feel all the time.
Is that really true, though? It feels like maybe she has some very specific feelings for both Branya and Daria that she's not willing to explore.
That's silly. We're all a good match. We've met the Imperial mandate that we not overfill our quadrants. We're all well balanced.
Is that what she's looking for in life? Really? To be well balanced? Lanera doesn't meet your eyes.
It's not like it matters anyway. It won't change how any of us feels.
This strikes you as a singularly odd thing to say. You wonder, what does she mean by that exactly?
If you'll excuse me, this has me feeling off. I need to sit down in my respite block.
Lanera pushes around you, brushes gently past Daria, and leaves the room.
Shit! We need to go talk to her. I need to go talk to her.
You quickly rush out into the hallway, following Daria down to the end where another doorway sits open. Cautiously, you lean in. The room inside is inviting, lit with a cool green light that reminds you of the forest back home on Earth. Lanera is leaning against her desk, and Daria looks like she's trying to figure out exactly what she wants to say.
Has she told you about our band?
Oh yeah, of course she has. Wait a minute. You see Daria's eyes go wide.
You know about that?
Daria, everyone knows about that. We all worry about you so much.
This doesn't really matter. You can pick which one do you want
I think we
here?
should do It's Really Cool, because it's fucking punk band.
Explain that you think what Daria does is really cool. Music has always been a strong part of resistance to oppression, at least on Earth it was. You think it's amazing that Daria decided to get involved in something so important. Lanera grins and puts a hand in front of her face.
I suppose it is pretty cool.
I can't believe you knew all about that and just kinda didn't say anything. Fuck, I need a minute.
Daria's leaning up against the wall of the hallway, her arms crossed and a deep frown on her face. You walk up slowly, making sure you put on your friendliest expression.
What the fuck do you want? Shouldn't you be in there gassing Miss Bulgesucker up some more?
Your face flushes hot with embarrassment, and you reassure Daria that no, you're actually out here to talk to her.
About what? How much you all disapprove of the path I've chosen in life? I do my duties here in the caverns. I'm there for my quadrant mates. But I can't just sit around and watch this planet burn. I mean, this is what Tizius and I have always wanted, right? A chance to really fuck this system up.
For some reason, she sounds uncertain, as if she's gotten to the point where she wants, or what she wants is almost a reality, but she's realizing she might not actually want it after all.
Maybe Lanera's right. Maybe it's just too dangerous. maybe all this does is end up getting us killed. And then what? What can we do for anyone if we're just a pile of green-colored paste on the ground?
Which one? Again, this doesn't matter much. It's just different dialogue.
She needs to support her Moirel. Because
Yeah,
you can't
you're right.
separate them.
Come on, let's go back and talk to Lanera.
Does she mean Ms. Bulgesucker?
You tell her I said that, and I'll fucking murder you.
You walk back into the respite block and find Lanera pacing back and forth in the middle of the room. She's got a firm grip on the edge of her sweater vest, and she's rolling the fabric in her palm, back and forth, as she looks around nervously.
I don't know what to do right now. Daria, I don't know what to do.
Daria crosses the room, puts a hand on Lanera's arm, steadying her.
Look, we need to talk. Privately.
You feel like that last bit was definitely directed at you. Okay, fine, you know how to read a room. Okay, no, you kind of don't, but you do understand that maybe it's time to not be here. You wave goodbye and tactfully leave the room as quickly as you can. Now what are you supposed to do? You want to give those two a fair amount of time to hash things out, but also you're bored. You decide to go looking for Branya. After all, maybe she has some thoughts on all the juicy recent developments you've been witnessing.
I love how MSPAR always basically just needs to be babysat.
Leaving Daria and Lanera behind to sort out whatever they're planning to talk through in whatever awkward way they can manage, you wander the halls of the caverns looking for Branya. As you do, you notice just how empty everything feels. You remember there being more Jades living here before. Maybe not a lot more, but definitely more. You wonder if maybe the others left for their own ascension, leaving only these four behind to tend to things. The whole thing gives you this sudden feeling of existential dread, a feeling that washes right over you and leaves you shivering in its wake. No wonder none of them want to talk about any of this. As you pass by the grub nursery, you're drawn in by the sound of someone inside singing softly. You stop at the entrance to the nursery and listen. It's obviously Branya, but there's no one else it could be, but you don't want to interrupt.
It's okay. I can hear you out there. You might as well come in.
I don't know.
Want to be free from time's apprentice.
Yeah. She's singing by the edge of that small pool of soaper, watching as a couple of grubs paddle around slowly, making soft mewling noises.
Was there something else you wanted? I'm sorry if I've been distracted lately. It's not your fault.
Alright, so this one you don't get to ask her all of the things, just most of them. And about Lanera and Daria are important, especially about Daria, because there's a thing in there that you have to answer in order to do some things in Volume 7. Or to make some things easier in Volume 7, so we're going to ask about Daria. You're a little bit surprised that she and Branya are mates, Fritz. Like, last time they seemed to be a dynamic that could basically be described as antagonistic, and now this? It feels weird.
Well, it feels weird because you weren't there. Feelings don't develop all at once. And I'll admit it wasn't something I'd considered, but...
This was not one of the things I wrote that was, like, self-inserty. It just was accidentally self-inserty.
Yep. Gotta love the demisexuality.
After so many of the others were taken away or abandoned the caverns, Daria became invaluable. Invaluable to the caverns, then to me.
She smiles at you, swiping a stray hair out of her face, and there's a look of peace in her face you don't feel like you see much on Alternia.
Is it a perfect matespartship? No, of course not. But perfect is a lie.
What does she mean by that? Is she thinking about her relationship with Elward? She nods quickly, still smiling. Okay.
It's pretty obvious she cares a lot.
Yeah.
I do. A great deal.
She knits her eyebrows and smiles at you, traces of color filling her cheeks out.
She has been a source of strength to me, even if we didn't always see eye to eye. I think it's fair to say that I love her.
Branya swells with pride as she smiles, closing her eyes and nodding towards you. You can't help but feel a sense of happiness washing over you. For all that horrible bullshit around you, this is genuinely heartfelt.
It felt like it was my fault, you know?
Wait, what was her fault?
What happened with Elward? That I was overbearing, or perhaps didn't fill her, needs.
Branya stumbles over her words for a second, clearly flustered, but quickly regains her composure.
But I realized that it was neither of our faults. There were deeper issues, and ultimately it was better for us to be apart.
Did she ever get the sweater back? Branya smiles at you.
I did not, in fact, get the sweater back. It's fine. If keeping it brings her some happiness, then she can have the damn thing. My whole point being, 1, I get to start over with Daria and learn from my mistakes. 2, both Elward and I are in a better place now. I hope.
She sees your face and stops.
Is that not true? I haven't heard from her in a while.
Well, thank you for saying you like my Branya voice.
Your Branya voice is really good.
And she also says, not to mention Branya herself looks quite fabulous and quite huggable.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
does
Riot
look
did a
hot.
really good job with this, and like, one of Riot's things is that she draws a lot of like bigger women, which I really appreciate, and it's one of the reasons I wanted her to do the Jades. So,
People get really, really weird about Fat Branya.
yeah.
People get so fucking weird, and it's like, okay, I guess you don't want to be hugged by a mom then.
I'm surprised we haven't seen like a fucking edit where they just take the sprite and squash it. That's so fucking cursed.
Nobody here is allowed to do that.
I hope I didn't just speak that into existence. Maybe she should check in on Elward. It's important that we choose that.
Maybe you're right. I don't think she ever blocked me on Chitter. I can reach out and just make sure she's okay. Even if I don't have feelings for her anymore, I worry.
Alright, let's see what we got for shitter messages.
At Selling Uppers, if you can see this, I'm sorry. At Jaded Extratic, you know I love you, right? I've got a lot to think about lately.
What is,
Is there anyone else?
Oh yeah, this actually this changes when the quadrant stuff resolves.
Oh!
Yeah. All right, let's ask about Lanera. That one's the other important
Oh,
one.
you were talking to her before, right?
Branya brightens up at the mention of Lanera's name.
She really is a wonderful Moirail.
Tell her you know how she feels. No, I know this one. This is one that only appears if Branya's already feeling some affinity towards Lanera.
Mm-hmm.
So normally it's one of these two, but this is the one you know you're on the right path. Branya doesn't respond right away. You're half expecting her to get annoyed, but instead she looks thoughtful.
You're suggesting I'm red for Lanera?
She said it, not you. Branya smiles softly and looks down at her hands, folded neatly in her lap.
It doesn't matter. I have a mate sprit already. I have a mate sprit who I love.
And why does that mean she can't feel the way she does about someone else? Like, maybe Lanera? She doesn't respond to you, at least not verbally. Instead, Branya's suddenly very interested in the floor of the nursery, in the cabinets off to the side, and basically anything but looking you in the eyes.
You sound like Daria.
What does that mean? You know you've been getting a lot of shit for being gone for a long time and not really vibing with everyone's deal over the last couple sweeps, but you don't get it.
She talks about how the quadrants don't have to be a prison we live inside of, that the Empire wants us to see them that way, because it allows them to control us yet another way, to control who we care about, who we care for.
Doesn't that make sense, though? You're still kind of sorting this through, but it seems like you've seen enough vacillation and general blurring of those lines, and maybe the idea that it's a strictly rigid system is... You don't want to use the phrase complete bullshit, but you're having trouble thinking of another. This time, Branya looks uncomfortable, but she doesn't say anything. Okay, I think... What is the one that leads... No, we're good for that. I'm trying to remember which one leads to the stuff about the Goldbloods.
Ooh.
I think... Isn't she tired of all this? Branya laughs. The sound echoes off the walls of the nursery and comes back sounding hollow and forced. Her voice is subdued when she responds.
Of course I'm tired. I wish I could leave, but
But she's got too much here to just run away. And besides, where would she even go?
exactly. So we have to make the best of bad circumstances.
That hurts so much to hear. Not what she's saying, but the feelings behind it. The sense that she wants more than anything to run away, but can't. It hurts to hear, and it hurts to see the look on her face when she realizes for the 100,000th time the position she's in. Okay, maybe not. Branya looks off toward the corner of the room, and her hand comes up to brush a strand of green-dyed hair off to the side nervously. Okay, you know that the whole we need to talk opener is a little bit much. But really, they can't keep living like this. Even by your admittedly lax standards of interpersonal relationships, this is downright pathological.
What do you mean? We are...
She doesn't finish the sentence. You don't think she can. Instead, Branya looks down and frowns.
It doesn't matter. 1. We can't stop what's coming. 2. The Empire will always find us. 3. We need to make the most of our time while we have it.
It sounds like she's about to cry. You look around the nursery, at all the grubs crawling around, at the cabinets full of neatly organized supplies, at all the signs that this is someplace full of genuine love and care. Let's see. I don't remember what it is. What would it take to convince her? Branya just kind of stares at you. She looks so utterly defeated right now, as if the years have just built up and crashed over her like a wave, and now she's drowning. And the people who are there to support her care a lot about her, but they're all in the same ocean.
I don't know. What does it even matter? Where would we go? What would we do?
She can keep fighting back. Why not? Why keep letting the Empire do whatever they want?
If only everything were that simple.
Okay, She happy here? She said they need to make the most of their time, but are they really doing that? Because if you're being really bluntly honest, it seems like they're all kind of miserable here.
What right do you have to say that to me?
Okay, she definitely took that the wrong way. Branya sniffles loudly and closes her fist, bringing it up and letting it fall loosely into her lap. You can hear the growing anger and frustration in her voice.
No, I'm not happy here. But what choices do I have? Where would we run? I have my grubs to care for. I have people I care about now. I can't just abandon them to the whims of the Empire. After all, what can we do? We can't fight the Empire, no matter how much we want to.
She starts to sob quietly.
If they can just take whatever they want, whoever they want. This has given me a lot to think about.
Okay, I'm gonna reload so we can hear some of the other dialogue options. Yeah. Because they don't, affect anything. It's just more lore. She knows she's already defined the Empire,
Yes,
right?
that one.
That's it.
What do you mean? I would never defy the Empire.
She looks around nervously, as if she expects the drones to pop out at any moment and kill her. You remind her that even if they hadn't been taken away for maintenance, you don't really think they're intelligent enough to recognize sedition. Bryony looks embarrassed, but she quickly composes herself.
As I was saying, 1. I love the Empire as much as any other obedient Alternian citizen. 2. I will gladly do my duty to the Empire.
No, she won't. Branya's eyes grow wide, and you can already see the understanding forming, or rather, the realization that you aren't going to buy whatever bullshit she's trying to sell you, or sell herself. The grubs that she cares for, the ones that she doesn't let die, the ones she's supposed to be culling.
It's not just that.
It's a whispered revelation, and you can see a terror growing in her eyes. What does she mean, it's not just that?
The grubs. It's not just the sick ones or the injured ones. Right after you left, a couple sweeps ago,
She swallows heavily and looks around nervously before continuing.
a new program was implemented to use certain gold blood grubs. Ones that were viable, but not ideal for raising to maturity.
To use them for what? Branya doesn't meet your eyes.
Power. Powering small ships mostly. They keep them stunted and sedated.
Holy shit!
I couldn't just let it happen! I couldn't be a part of it! So I started lying about the number of grubs that fit their criteria, and hiding the data from the Empire's record keepers.
That sounds incredibly dangerous. Even more so than what she was doing with the sick grubs. Branya nods.
Absolutely. But it was the right thing to do.
You feel like you've heard that before. Didn't Tizia say something about it when she was defending Tagora? The right thing to do. They're trying to keep other people safe, even if it puts them at risk. Branya seems to puff out her chest a little bit.
We are asked to do horrible things. I guess I just got tired of doing horrible things all the time. This has given me a lot to think about, but...
At Space Dice Sweater Best, at JJ's Patriotic, at Troll20, at Freddy and Fangs. I'm sorry. I failed all of you. I think I love her.
1. I'm tired. 2. I want to talk to my matesprit about some things. 3. I would appreciate being able to check in with my Moirail as well.
Well, by happy coincidence, you think both of them are in Linnera's room talking something out. You can take her there.
you can take me to my own Moirail's respite block?
Oh, yeah, you guess that does sound a little bit silly when you say it out loud. Bronya leads the way towards Lanera's room, her hand clenched tightly in front of her. You're not sure exactly what's on her mind, but it's got to be related to everything you talked about with her. You can hear muttering as she walks.
I'll talk to them. And then we'll figure it out together. No matter what. As long as we're all together.
Bronya rounds the corner into the room ahead of you, with you still lagging behind a small margin.
What is going on in here?
You sprint around the corner to find Bronya standing in the doorway, and inside the room, sitting on a kind of low couch, are Lanera and Daria. You're not sure what Bronya was reacting to, but they're both very close to each other. They are, in fact, still sitting with their arms around each other's waists, looking extremely shocked to see Bronya there.
Shit! Fuck! Bronya! This...
If you're about to tell me it's not what it looks like, you know what? Never mind. I'll be in my room if you need me.
Bronya pushes past you and storms off down the hallway, leaving the other two sitting there awkwardly on the couch and blinking at each other. So, you're guessing that they're getting along, at least? The two of them both avoid your gaze.
We discovered we have a lot in common. It wasn't exactly planned out in advance. And now... Oh god, I need to speak with her.
Lanera gets up, ignoring Daria's attempt to stop her, and pushes past you as well, heading off down the hallway. You wonder if maybe you should stay and talk to Daria, but somehow it feels like this is all coming to a head now. You need to follow Lanera. She's not far, about halfway to Bronya's respite block, and she's leaned up against the wall, sobbing quietly to herself.
How could I be so stupid?
No, wait a minute. You don't think she's stupid for having complicated feelings?
But Daria is Bronya's mate sprit. What I did was completely unacceptable. Maybe she'll forgive me. Maybe we can still...
She drops her eyes, then turns her head slightly and looks up at you.
Can you help me? Can you just be there for me? I'm so scared that nothing will make this better. I love her.
The words are so simple, so utterly obvious in their implication, and you knew that this was coming. Knew in your heart of hearts that there wasn't any real alternative, at least, when it comes to this particular piece of the puzzle.
I always loved her, even if she never realized.
You think that maybe she needs to say something to Bronya? Lanera swallows heavily and nods.
You're right. What do I have to lose?
Hold on. Hey, what's up? Sorry about that, I had to answer a call from one of my children.
No wonder this route has such well-written moms. You're a mom.
Yeah.
Wait, I just realized.
What?
You're wearing your fucking green screen dress. Was that intentional?
No, but it works out really well. Inside of Bronya's room, you see Bronya off in the corner crying to herself. Lanera approaches first, cautiously knocking on the frame of the door. What is the... Oh, here we go.
How can I see so stupid?
Oh, that's a typo. Well, I'm gonna leave it because fixing these is a pain in the ass.
1. Obviously, they love each other. 2. Obviously, they hate me.
Bronya looks up sharply, but she doesn't look angry anymore, just hurt. You're getting really tired of seeing your friends look hurt, but you understand why.
What do you want? Is this the part where you look at me and tell me, Bronya, we need to talk? Where you tell me all about how you and Daria were actually meant for each other? About how my mate Sprit secretly hates me?
She sobs and looks back and forth between you and Lanera, desperation in her eyes.
About how much you hate me?
Bronya, how could I hate you? I see what you do every day. How much you care about everyone around you. I can't help how I feel about you. I think I'm in love with you.
It's such a strangely matter-of-fact statement. You think that maybe Bronya was prepared to hear just about anything, about how much Daria didn't want to be around her anymore, or how much Daria secretly hated her. But you don't think she was prepared for this. Bronya's staring at Lanera, her eyes watering.
You... really?
She's quiet now, talking only a little bit above a whisper.
You know, I have a mate Sprit already. You were kissing her after all.
Who cares about that?
Linnea takes a step forward, her eyes suddenly aflame with an intensity that seems strangely familiar. Bronya looks up, but she doesn't move away.
Who cares about the quadrants? Who cares about what we're supposed to do, or think, or feel about each other? Who cares about the fucking Empire?
If Bronya looks shocked to hear this, Linnea looks just as shocked that these words are coming out of her mouth. But she doesn't stop. Instead, she takes another step forward.
I've been by your side for sweeps. I've seen you care for grubs that should have been culled. I've seen you tend to the weak and lie to the auto-terrorizers about what we're doing. I've seen you treat others with kindness and compassion, even when they didn't appreciate it. I've seen you give and give and give until there's hardly any of you left for anyone. And I can't stand it anymore. Don't you deserve someone who cares about you?
I've got Daria. And you, my Moiril.
As she says it, you see a flash of doubt across Bronya's face. Even she doesn't believe this.
I know that. And Daria is a good mate sprit. And I'm a good Moirail, but I still love you. And I tried so hard for so long to stop. To make myself distant or just pale again and...
She sighs heavily and her shoulders slump. The energy she had is gone out now.
I can't feel any other way. Red as deep as an ocean, and I can't keep pretending. Bronya, Daria and I talked about this. If we both feel this way about you, and you feel this way about us, what does it matter? What's stopping you from loving more than one person?
When Bronya speaks again, she sounds tiny, small, and defeated.
1. The Empire. 2. The rules about our quadrants.
The Empire? The Empire wants you to murder those grubs. The Empire wants you to hand over the newly hatched Goldbloods for their quota. The Empire wants to send all of us off-world for the rest of our lives, never seeing each other again.
You're right. Linnea, I think I love you too.
There's no fanfare to it, no big sweeping declaration. Instead, it's just a handful of quiet words that feel like they've changed everything. Next to you, you see Linnea standing there looking absolutely stunned. You get the feeling that she wasn't expecting this at all. Also, the really self-inserty stuff is actually at the other in the pale route where Linnea and Daria are pale. I mean, it's still pretty, yeah.
Okay.
But I
After
wish
the stream, you should pull up the super self-inserty words.
you mean to play them or
Just to read them.
Okay, I will do that.
So everybody can see what you read when you were sad and drunk and wanting to confess to me.
You aren't playing a joke on me? You're telling me the truth?
Bronya nods softly and smiles.
I guess I am.
In a single motion, Linnea crosses the room and wraps her arm tightly around Bronya, pulling her in close and kissing her. The two hold each other together, rocking back and forth on the couch together. You think that maybe you shouldn't be here right now. This feels intensely private and personal. It takes you a few minutes to find Daria again. She's up in the common room, sitting there and staring idly at the wall. As you approach, she looks up and waves at you slowly.
Hey.
Hey yourself, you say quietly. Daria smiles at you and shifts over to the low bench she's on, making room for you to sit down next to her.
So, I guess I kind of fucked that up, huh? I don't know what's wrong with me. It just kind of happened. I guess that's what every asshole says, huh?
Actually, you think that things might have turned out better than you would have thought? You quickly explain what happened between Bronya and Linnea. As you finish the story, Daria's eyes light up.
No shit!
You sit next to Daria and smile, looking over the common room, watching a few of the grubs wriggling their way along a bookcase. You hear her sigh, letting out a long day's frustration all at once.
Guess you probably didn't figure you'd come back to all of this, huh?
No, you aren't gonna bullshit her and say that you did. You've seen a lot of your old friends now, and you've been shot at, gone to court, enjoyed an adventure of high fantasy, and you've been attacked by a near god with a crowbar. Daria's eyebrow quirks up at the last one.
Attacked by a what?
You give her the short version of what Scratch is and what he represents to Alternia. Given what you're saying, you think Daria takes it pretty well.
Always felt like something was off about this planet. Never put my finger on it, but there's always something. Whatever ends up happening, we can't keep living in this same loop. You know that, right?
Quietly you nod. and the conversation lapses back into silence as you watch the grubs a little bit longer. After a few minutes more, you hear the sound of someone approaching from the hallway. You look up to see Bronya walking in, followed closely by Lanera.
Looks like there's a message.
Where?
A chip.
Oh, yeah. That is here. Never in my entire life. I finally told her how I feel. You notice a distinctive blush on their cheeks, and the expression on their faces is sheepish.
Hey,
Bronya nods to Daria, but doesn't say anything right away.
we need to talk about what's going on with us.
She gestures at all three of them, and you look at all your friends in turn. Serious and composed, passionate and loyal, rebellious and principled. These are three people that you've grown to admire and respect. Three people that you care about. You realize that you want them to be able to figure this all out. Not because it's a basic prerequisite to them actually listening to you, but because you care about them and you want them all to be happy.
You're right. We do need to talk.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this
Hold on a second.
because I'm sick of bullshit.
Sweaty.
I'm sick of
No, you're
dancing around the issues. Fuck it all. I actually do care about you, Braun. Love you, even. Shit. Maybe we ended up together because of some stupid reason or because we were comfortable together or some shit. But
I love how
we're together now, and I'm glad we're together. And I know you feel the same.
What?
I love how Daria is so like it's not like I love you or anything.
Yeah, exactly. She's very bad at feelings. Bronya's face is a picture of euphoria as she smiles nervously, looking over at you quickly. Like that's one of the things about this route is like I wanted them to have very like distinctive voices and how they talk both to each other and about each other.
With Lanera just straight up being like,
Yeah, and then being like, no, I didn't say that. I'm normal. Everything's normal. I'm fine.
You may have a point.
Daria glances over at Lanera, and the two of them quickly lock eyes, and Lanera drops her gaze, embarrassed.
I'm sorry about what I did with Lynn, because I know she's your Moirail and I'm your mate spread. I know it's the biggest fucking cliche to say it just kind of happened, but thing about being pitched for someone, it's not that different from being read for them.
She shuffles her feet nervously.
Guess we realized that at some point we'd crossed over that line, and I apologize for springing that on you. But I won't apologize for how I feel about her. You and I both know the whole thing is a goddamn scam.
Finally, once Daria finishes speaking, Bronya looks up at her and smiles.
I understand, actually.
This time, it's Bronya and Lanera's turn to look like they have something important to say. Lanera closes the distance between her and Bronya, reaching out to take her hand, threading their fingers together. Daria's face lights up with immediate understanding.
Oh, shit, really? I thought this friend-shaped asshole was just shitting me.
You were right. Feelings aren't simple, and they can't be controlled by telling everyone not to feel them.
Daria leans back and starts laughing.
Oh, you mean that she finally confessed her incredibly obvious feelings to you?
You clap your hands together. They're all together, just like you always dreamed. A big happy jade pile. That's the achievement for getting the polycule.
What? Jade pile? What the fuck? Way to make it super fucking weird.
Oh shit, sorry. Out loud thoughts again.
So, that's it then?
Alright, we've got... an automated Chixie.
life's so much sometimes. I miss my friends.
Now is where she starts, like, bleeding her, private thoughts into her public chitter.
Oh, poor Trixie.
I don't know how at Alien Invasion of 1 did it, but they make a hell of an auspice.
Agreed.
Apparently. Is that all? Oh, Marvis. Nobody asks at real Trizatethis her opinion, but she keeps telling us any fucking way.
Guess so. Feel good to get all of that off of your chests?
Yes, actually.
Lanera is smiling shyly and looking back and forth at the others. You know what? You're gonna call this one a win. Which is good, because now is the actual... Also, we've got our chitter, Daria. Atlas Advocate, are you really going through with this? And then Trizza's fucking girl
A lot of
boss.
hashtag girl boss ladies in this caverns.
I need to figure out what's next for the caverns.
What's next? What do you mean?
They can't just sit here and wait to be exiled off-world, but they can't just abandon everyone around them either.
You have an alternative. Do you actually have anything useful to contribute?
10, I think?
Okay, cool, we're good.
We're almost done.
We're probably like within 20 or 30 minutes
Actually,
at
I
the
wanna
end.
make sure.
What if they use the caverns to aid the rebels? They seem like they're pretty naturally fortified, and they're already effectively breaking, like, dozens of Imperial laws, right? Branya looks nervous.
I suppose you do have a point.
She doesn't have to respond right away.
Yeah, they closed it down.
Okay. Give it a little bit. Think it over. Daria laughs and shakes her head as she starts to walk out of the common room.
Well, this is fucking stupid. I'm gonna chill in my respite block if anyone needs me.
You're about to head off to talk to Daria, to try to convince her that your amazing plan is, in fact, super brilliant and also very amazing. But as you're walking out of the room, you feel a tug on your sleeve and turn to see Lanera staring at you.
Can we talk? It won't take long.
You and Lanera step out into one of the hallways that runs out from the common rooms. As soon as you're out of earshot of Branya, Lanera leans in and starts to cry.
I don't know what to do.
Hey, it's alright. Why don't you head down to her study and you can talk this out, okay? Lanera nods through tears. In her study, she walks over and shits, yeah, that's what she does, and sits in one of the overstuffed armchairs along the side of the room, the chair yielding with a soft poof of air as she
A
sits.
soft poop of air. There's a chip.
Yeah, I think it's part of the conversation with Tizius.
Of course, they deserve what's coming to them.
There's a couple more of those, so I'll let it accumulate.
I'm scared, okay? Whatever Branya does, I'm going to support her, no matter what. But what if she does want to do your plan? To really defy the Empire? We could all be killed. I'm not saying I don't think it's a good idea, but I'm scared is all.
Being scared is normal. After all, you're basically scared all the time, and look at you. Lanera smiles at you.
No offense, but maybe that isn't the best example.
Okay, sure, but it's not like she'll have to do this alone. She'll always have the others, and all the other people who are supporting the rebellion. Tagora and Gallic, well, sort of. Stelsa and Tizius with all their contacts in the Legis Corpus. Connell and Skyla with their military training. Marsti and Sarava with their... Well, that one's complicated, but you feel like you can work with it. Lank and Wanshi, willing to take a risk that it would be when it would be easier to keep running and hiding. Lanera nods thoughtfully.
You're right. Thank you. I should get back to Branya.
Of course. You're gonna go talk to Daria first, but you'll be right there. Oh yeah, that's right. We've said enough things right that we didn't have to do the thing to reassure her.
Oh.
Like, I think we were like one off, because when I was testing this route, I picked like one salvation choice just for the hell of it, and it weighted it enough that you had to convince her. It's just like reassuring her that everything is not going to end horribly.
The long plank, oh no.
Oh no, whatever, I can fix that in a patch. Daria's in a room lying on the long plank, on the lounge plank, a book sitting open on her chest. As soon as you walk in, she tosses the book on the floor and sits up.
What's up with you?
You could ask her the exact same question. You are, in fact, asking her that question right now. Daria shakes her head and looks around the room slowly.
Never thought I'd be thinking about how I could stay in this place as long as possible. Guess things change, huh?
That's one thing you've definitely had hammered into your head over the last day or so, yeah. You should really go and talk to Branya. Make sure she's on board with all of this. Daria nods.
Sure. Do what you gotta do.
You walk back in to see Lanera and Branya huddled together, their voices low, but loud enough for you to overhear. You decide not to interrupt.
You know that they're right, Branya. You know it's the right thing to do.
I know. I wish there was an easier way out of all of this.
There isn't. I wanted the same thing, but they're right.
I know.
You see Bronya lean over and kiss Lynera on the forehead.
I know. I'm sorry. I just want all of us to be safe.
Bronya finally notices you standing there.
It's you. Lynera and I were just talking about your idea.
Pocket grub in the corner.
I know, I love it.
Little
I think
eyes.
that maybe I was being kind of a bitch, to borrow something someone once told me.
You see Lynera reach out and squeeze her hand gently.
I suppose your plan is a very good one. We can be a place of hope in this world. I was worried about the Empire, but you're right. If they'll cull us all for saving these grubs' lives, then what difference does it make? They can't kill us more for defying them.
See? It all worked out in the end.
Yep. Well, you should probably get ready to be going soon.
You're not staying here?
You want to. You really honestly do. But something tugs on you. The sense that you have other business to attend to. Business that will take you far from the caverns again.
Before you go, I need to speak to you, privately.
Leaving Lynera behind, you and Bronya walk back up the hallways toward the entrance to the caverns. The light of the moon streams down, casting rigid shadows everywhere as Bronya finds a spot to sit on the rock formations that surround the cavern entrance.
There's something else I need you to promise me.
Oh, sure. You don't know what it is, but honestly you're pretty much at the point where you'll just agree to basically anything your friends want.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Yeah, probably not.
I was just going to ask you, could you possibly look for Karako?
Oh shit, you're not even sure where you would start with that.
Please? I know you can't promise to find her, but can you at least keep your eyes open? I get the sense that you're not done with your journey, are you?
No, probably not.
Then please look for her. She was all by herself when they took her, and I couldn't do anything at the time. I owe her more than that.
You pause for a second before responding. This feels like a heavy promise to make, one that could have far-reaching implications. So of course you agree. Bronya smiles sadly at you.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I just want to know that she's safe.
You Nook Lookers still out here talking?
She grins and winks to show she's not serious.
There's still a lot of night left if you have to be going, but also you don't have to go anywhere.
Actually, you think you do. You see a look of recognition flash in Daria's eyes.
You can't settle down just yet, can you? Got something else to take care of?
Yeah, exactly. For some reason the city glittering on the horizon keeps calling to you. The lights shimmering and shining. It must be a lot bigger than Outglut or Trash Thrust. You don't think you've been to such a large Alternian city before.
No matter what anyone else says, this is where we belong. No one can take that from us.
Fuck their whole rotten system. They know who they are and what they're about. And then that's what I thought. It's just the response to Jesus.
And then Lynera.
It doesn't matter what happens because we'll be together.
Also, yes, Karako is trans.
Yeah.
We do end up finding Karako, right? I'm really worried about her.
Eventually, yes.
It'll be a little while. It'll
It's-
be several volumes.
Yeah, near the end of the game, but you will find Karaka. Something tells you that your journey will take you into that city. A strange tingling sensation runs over your body.
Are you okay?
Yeah, something tells you that you should get moving before the daylight hits. Without much advance warning, Lynera steps forward and pulls you into one of the most awkward, yet strangely compassionate hugs you've ever experienced. She quickly lets you go and steps back, fidgeting nervously.
I'm sorry. Please, be careful. Things are dangerous out there. There's been fighting in the city. The legislators keep doing raids.
Oh, okay. T-Man says, I had an awesome idea about drones to make them more horrifying. Maybe they're secret lobotomized trolls and robot suits that the Empire uses. That's exactly what you wrote in an Unkind Sanctuary.
Yeah, that's part of Unkind Sanctuary.
Read
It's
an
like
Unkind
end plot.
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Seriously, city's fucking dangerous. Been there plenty of times with the band.
Your ears perk up at this. The band? That means Chixie was in her band, right?
Feel like I said this at least once or twice? Yeah, she was our damn singer.
And she's still in the city? Daria shrugs.
I guess. She got herself into a situation with some fucking indigo and hasn't been on Chitter much lately.
Oh no. You have a sinking feeling that you know where this is going. Where would you happen to be able to find Chixie if you wanted to? Daria shrugs.
Place called the Lilting Mare. It's in the High Blood District. She sings there sometimes.
There's something about how she says it that makes you feel uneasy. It's suddenly become very important that you get to that city.
You should have plenty of time, even walking.
You think that you should probably get going now. You've appreciated the break, but there's that weird sense of something out there that they're pulling on you. Something that you should really pay attention to. You wave to your friends as you begin to walk off into the plains that divide the cavern from the city beyond. And as you walk, you start to remember. Daria.
Pale MSPAR Chixie, that's actually canon.
Yeah, that's canon. They're
Moirails. On the end card of their... MSPAR is Moirails with at least 3 people.
Yeah.
The little pale thing at the end of the end card is on Chixie's route, on Stelz's route, and on Palipa's route.
Yeah.
And Palipa really took that seriously.
Yeah. So did Chixie, but they have different reactions to it.
Yeah.
Add Chixie Real. I'm worried about you. DM me. So, I'm going to ask you one more time. This ending screen, this changes depending on their relationship to each other. Like, they'll be standing closer to or further away from each other.
Aww.
Also, that if you do the salvation route, she's holding grubs.
Oh my god!
Because they pack the grubs up to take with them.
That's so fucking cute. Wait, do you have like a picture of that? I want to see that.
I do not. I have the layers, but I don't have the final image. No. So there we go. That's volume 6. Oh, yeah, that took us a couple hours. I know. We can do the bad ending, yeah. Do you want to save your progress so far? Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll just play the route again and boof it.
Oh, by the way, mi bukte jarle, Janaya's surgery is not until next week.
Yeah, I know, it's the 14th. Okay, so MSPAR's journey will continue in Volume 7, From Here to Oblivion. Alright, let's play and get the bad ending so we can see that.
Oh, so game's progress.
No, it's just for the route. I've got to save. Who's the easiest one to fuck up? Lanera.
Oh yeah, because you did
the murder dungeon. But there was definitely a murder dungeon. You're quite sure on this one. You were in this room, and it was all lined with dark stone and skulls and stuff. It was pretty scary, actually. And she tied you up, and you were quite sure you were going to be murdered. In the dungeon. Lanera's eyes water, and she looks like she's about to cry.
Why would you say that?
Wait, excuse you?
The only reason I tied you up was because I thought you were here to hurt us. How was I supposed to know you were just here to make friends? Who even does that? And to say I was keeping you in some kind of dungeon. Like I'm some kind of gambling knot.
She sniffles loudly.
I'm sorry, okay? Maybe I didn't react the best way, but I was just worried about the others. You have no idea what it's like here.
Oh shit, you're beginning to think that there never actually was a murder dungeon.
That's what I've been saying this whole time.
For those of you who didn't get the incredibly obvious context, MSPAR is not a reliable narrator. They just showed up in the caverns and were like, I'm here in this place with all of your babies.
I'm gonna sit on your babies and kill them.
Was there something else you wanted to ask about?
See, now we're really far down, so basically anything you say to her this isn't good. That takes a hit to the...
What do you mean by that?
To the thing.
You think I'm lying?
A look flashes in Lanera's eyes, a look of anger, of a familiar rage. So each of them has like a bad ending when you deplete their meter that's unique to them, and then the council section's the same. Is she reaching for her knife again? You back away quickly, throwing up your hands to defend yourself.
What?
Her hands are empty. Oh shit, her hands are empty. And all of a sudden you realize, look in her eyes isn't anger, isn't rage. It's hurt.
I don't understand. I thought you were different. I thought you understood me.
Oh no, you think you made a mistake.
But you're not sorry, are you? You're the same as everyone else who looks at me and sees
She sniffles loudly and wipes the back of her hand along her newly watering eyes.
a freak. That's all I am to you.
No, that's not true. You're not like that at all. You pride yourself in your broad and versatile friendship skills, on your ability to connect with a wide range of people on a deep and intimate level.
Well, it's not working on me, I guess. What else do I need to do to prove I was serious? How many times do you need me to explain myself? It'll never be good enough, will it?
No, that's not true.
You keep saying that. I really wish you'd stop. Just stop lying to me for once. Please.
Her body language just deflates. She folds in on herself and wraps her hands around herself, hugging her arms tightly against her sides and hunching in, her face downcast.
Can you please just leave me alone?
Wait, no, this isn't right. You're not supposed to be here, not this time. You're not dead? No one is dead. No one is even maimed. You should be able to fix this. Yeah, it's the two sylphs. Sometimes you can't. What does she mean by that? That's not true. You want to read the other one?
Oh, please. You don't really get the choice to fix anything. We've already been over this, and the fact that you haven't seemed to catch on is kind of disappointing, actually.
It's just that you have a hard time remembering these interactions.
You don't have to remember.
If you're willing to accept the conceit that these are people, then maybe actually try treating them like people. But aren't there bigger issues here? Doesn't stuff like fighting the Empress matter just a little bit more than some interpersonal drama between a bunch of 20-somethings living underground? Not if they're so wrapped up in their own personal misery that they can't see the bigger issues. People need care too. Yeah, you guess you kind of fucked that one up.
Not a big deal. That's all part of the plot.
Part of the... That's the first one where we're like blending, because the Sylph of Rage in Volume 4 was like extremely talking to the player and not to MSPAR. Alright, so that's the thing. That and I can just read from the script for the lines that I did. So okay, let me load up my save game. Revolution ending. Alright, that was volume 6.
That was volume 6.
Let me go to the switch. Okay, let me quit out. Alright, not gallery. Not gallery. Alright. I'm gonna find that script so I can read it. Borp. Notepad. ++. There we go.
Yeah, so we're wrapping up, but also before you all leave, you should listen to this part that Janaya wrote when she really wanted to ask me out.
Yeah, so I had written this whole scene, and then I got drunk and in my feelings, and I wrote more. Let me find it. Here we go. Volume 6. This should be the version that has it. Yeah, it's okay. So I think it's the Pale Path. Let me find it.
While we're looking for it, what are you all excited for in the coming volumes?
Yeah, here it is. I found it. Okay, yeah, so if you're... is this the Pale Path? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's in the Nursery, so that's in the Pale Path. So this is if Daria and Lanera aren't flush for each other. So you've got the L-shaped polycule as a possibility there. It says, Lanera sighs and looks up at Branya, meeting her eyes. And the other thing is, Linnea trails off and looks over at you nervously, as if she's looking for encouragement. You have a strong feeling you know exactly what she's about to say, what she's about to confess. Might as well, right? You can tell that whatever emotional wall she had up inside, she's already over it. Branya, every day I see the kind of person you are. The way that you care so much for others. The way you care about me. But it's not that simple, is it? Because it's more than that. Every day I think, I wish she could see herself how I see her. And I wish she would look at me the way I look at her. I think I'm in love with you. That's the, yeah.
You're so fucking gay.
I am extremely gay. You are too, though.
Yes, I am.
I'm glad.
I'm going to lovingly bite your arm now.
Aw. So yeah, I'm glad people like the thing. I'm glad they like the route. I really liked writing it. It's one of, I say this about every route I write, but it's one of my favorites. It's one of the most, like, personally meaningful to me routes, and I'm glad people have enjoyed it.
I see you want to latch onto Zebra's arm like a rabid coyote. Like we said, you won't be doing physical violence to him, but you will be doing psychological violence.
Zebra's gross. Like, he is not a good person. I know there's, like, zebra likers out there, and I guess you're allowed to like whatever you want, but, like, he is canonically an awful person.
We did a lot of work trying to make characters that are, like, meh in the original into decent characters.
Yeah.
But, Zebra's irredeemable.
And like, also bringing depth to characters too. Like, they're not all good people, but, like, they can still be interesting. Like, Zebra's an interesting character. He's a horrible person, but, like, he's got stuff going on that's worth looking at.
He feels like a real person, and that's why you hate him
yeah,
so much. Because
like,
we've all met a zebra. He makes us want to retch because we've all met him.
He's a very specific kind of awful dude, and, like, I think it's worth giving him depth. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to love, like, he doesn't have to be like, oh, he's good, actually. His troubled childhood is why has slaves. Like, you don't have to do that, but you can still, like, have him be a complex, interesting character, and I think that's worth doing. Like, well-written villains are important, too. Like, that's important to a story, and having antagonists that feel like actual people and not just, like,
he's not the sexy kind of villain,
villains.
though.
Yeah, I know.
He's the kind of villain. He's the least sexy kind of villain.
Yeah. We don't.
Not all villains have to be sexy, though most of them should.
We do have a sexy villain for those of you who like dudes that we've been kind of, like, drip feeding to you.
Oh yeah.
But
listen,
like,
there's gonna be a lot of people who really like him.
So anyway, but yeah, I'm glad people like this, and Volume 7 is gonna be a real fucking trip, and I'm really excited to show that off. So stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna
the one I put literally the most work into of any of them.
And you'll see exactly why.
Yes, I think it took months. It took months of work.
When the trailer drops, it's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, October 14th, baby. That's when the trailer comes out. So, but yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to my channel specifically, you should stick around. Cool stuff comes out here every other Monday. We're doing a voice roulette for next Monday. Last week we did a Owl House comic dub, which I'm trying to dip my toes into. My Amity voice just sounds like Vriska. If you like my Vriska, you'll like my Amity, I guess. We've got lots of fun stuff coming up. Obviously, keep your eyes peeled for the next Friendsim 2 volume, because it will blow your minds.
Yes.
And also,
so much work.
Later in September, I'm going to be hosting. This weekend on the Studio June channel. You gotta go. You gotta show up to the
on Sunday. So if you go to the Studio June YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Studio June, on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be doing a listening party for the first volume of the Friendsim 2 official soundtrack, which is dropping probably Sunday sometime during the day. I've got to, like, do the DistroKid thing. It will be available on Bandcamp It will be available on streaming services.
Streaming services do take a few days.
That takes a few days. Okay, it will eventually be available.
It'll be immediately available on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Streaming services, it'll take a couple days.
It is free. You don't have to pay anything for it. If you do feel like giving us money on Bandcamp, it will immediately go to basically offsetting the cost of development.
The artists will get,
There's a deep hole, and it will help fill it just a little
Janaya
bit.
has spent tens
a lot
of
of
thousands
money.
of dollars
Yeah.
on this, of her own money, and this will help fill
So
it.
if you pay for the album, it will immediately go to like offsetting the cost of development. But you don't have to if you either don't have money or don't want to spend money. It will be free. It's 36 tracks, including all of the like little stings for credits and ending sequences, and the first volume has a couple of remix tracks from the first volume. But yeah, you've got a big chunky group of you got 9 different artists. You've heard all the music already. It's from the first 6 routes, but you've got music by Anna here, who's contributed a bunch of tracks. Jojo Funk McLovin. We've got a few James Roach tracks. We've got DBNet 18 is on that. Benny James, who is a composer, friend / classmate of Anna's.
If you've seen the 20-minute musical callback on my channel, Benny wrote like some of the music for that. And
so,
most of the lyrics.
And they did the very, very excellent scratch theme for our game. And Grace Medley, who's one of the Vastera composers. So a number of very talented composers and a really good soundtrack overall. And then when we release the 14th volume of the game, we'll release volume 2, which will have the second half of the soundtrack. Probably not quite as many tracks because it won't have any of the stings, but some really good songs on volume 2 soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. Oh, and for more my channel announcements.
Yes.
So it's almost been a year since me and Janaya started dating, and we're going to be doing a anniversary stream series on September 23rd. So one of the reasons why we became so close is because we were reading my fic, The Progeny, on the Willet Homestuck fic read streams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming to the last chapter of the project. I have to finish writing the last chapter of The Progeny. So in celebration of our first year together and also me finishing the fic, we are going to do a full read-through of the entire trilogy. And you guys should tune in for that. Yeah. We are going to have a monetary goal where we will release something secret that I have never released to anyone's eyes other than Janaya's.
Yeah.
If you get me to my monetary goal. So yeah, if you like, more Friendsim shenanigans, the idea of Carcat being involved in those Friendsim shenanigans,
2 sequels
Terezi
that
being
are
evil.
twice as long as the work that comes before them.
Yup. So yeah, you should come hop on my channel on Friday the 23rd to enjoy that.
It's good. It's gonna be good. The Progeny is really important to me, and it's also part of the reason Friendsim 2 exists.
Yeah,
so.
and also Janaya is very important to me. So
I'm glad you're important.
So
to
yeah,
me too.
if you like watching us be gay, then
yeah. The Progeny is really good, and I'm really proud of the sequels too. So
the sequels are real good, and I forgot most of the stuff that happened in them because
there's a lot that happens in them too.
But they are very good. If you want to see a lot of shit happen.
Yeah. They're like an exercise in me trying to think of ways to top myself as I continue onward. That came out wrong.
Terezi being evil. Blasphemy. Oh, I don't know if it's blasphemy. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Terezi's descent into madness is kind of great.
Yeah, there is a lot. But yeah, so thank you for coming to another of our streams.
So much for watching.
Yeah.
And we will see you all next time.
Fuck yeah.
Imagine I'm doing the finger guns I do at the end of all my videos.